once we understand the DevOps, after that we're going to also dig out one of the tools in as part of the DevOps, which is a configuration management tool, and that's called Chef. Okay, so we're going to have some sort of demo as well, and then we will also have some Q&A sessions, and I'll get opportunity to interact with you, and I'll get a opportunity to answer all of your questions, whatever you have it. So we will get started. So now let's start with the DevOps. So as part of the today's agenda, as part of the DevOps, we're going to discuss about the DevOps. What is DevOps? What are the process, adoption process which we have it? Some of the case studies I'm going to talk about again, and then henceforth I'm going to talk about the chef related activities. So let's get started. So in order to understand the DevOps, what you have to do, first thing, we'll have to understand some of the things which is very important for us, and that's old days of the software delivery, because probably you do the a lot of Googles and you find out the definition of the DevOps. DevOps is Dev plus Ops, or DevOps is a combination of Agile, CI, CD, and many more definition you can find on that, which is floating on the Google. But today we are not just going to put in front of you that just a definition, typical definition, but today I'm going to help you to understand the big picture of the DevOps, how DevOps can redefine your software development process, how DevOps can redefine the whole automation, how a DevOps can change your mindset. And the ultimate thing, why we are using DevOps, what are the output which we are going to gain once you do the DevOps. So all these things we're going to discuss it. So in order to understand all the aspects, we'll have to understand the old days of the software delivery. We'll have to understand how you, me, or everyone else, all the software projects, software engineers used to deliver the product. That's the first thing which you'll have to understand, how we used to do that. And that's one thing, and how we should consume the software. So we'll have to you have to redefine this one. And if you talk about that, how we used to develop the software, and in those perspectives, if you look at it, you used to develop a software. So earlier we used to develop software of the release cycle consists of the 6 months, 3 months, 1 year, sometime 2 years also in the case of the Microsoft and other popular product. So now you used to have a release cycle of the 2 years. We used to have follow the waterfall model. In waterfall model, we complete the one phase and then move on to the another phase. So start with the requirement. Once the requirement is over, then get into the scoping, then scoping is over, then get into the design, then design is over, then get into the development is over, then get into the testing, and after the testing we do that release. Okay, so this is the kind of thing. So one phase used to be completed, and then it used to move on to the other phases. So, and that life cycle of the software product, we used to take it 6 months, 1 year, and so on. It used to take a lot of time. The reason was simple. Why you used to spend a good amount of time on the releasing the product? Because the product release, which we were doing at that time, the consumptions was based on the desktop based application. So our the person who the people who were consuming the software, they were having installed those software in the machine, in the computer, and in their desktop based application, and these applications were not connected with each other. So let's say I'm using Microsoft Office and you are also using Microsoft Office probably 15 years before. These softwares were not connected with each other. So I'm using 97, you are using 98, 99, 2000 or something like that. So everyone was working and everyone was using the different version of the software. So again, let me focus on the points which we are discussing right now. Is like old days of the software delivery. So in a nutshell, we used to burn the CDs in terms of software development. We used to have a release of 1 year. We used to follow the waterfall model. We used to have the multiple release. We used to support the multiple releases for the same product. So you have an office, you have to support 95, 97, 98, 2000. If you have a Adobe Photoshop, you are supporting 6, 7, 8, 9. So multiple users are using their software, and you'll have to support it all, because the reason, why you have to support it, because you don't have a software which can be given to everyone. So if some other people they are working isolated environments, they will be outdated, they will not be up to date, and again you have to support it as part of their contract. So this is the old model what we have it. And now look at the current trend in terms of software consumptions. And if you look at the current trend of the software consumptions, look at your daily cycles. You start with your day in the morning and you sleep in night, and what you do, how you are consuming the software. So let's start with this, like probably you are checking your emails or not. If not, then Facebook, probably not Facebook, then WhatsApp. Yes. So have you found out, like, do you have a two version of the Facebook or WhatsApp or email? Okay, probably you have a office email. Have you found out like a version 1, version 2 of the, like you, if let's say you are working Google, then Google 1, Google 2, like that? Do we have such kind of applications? No, of course not. It's a one version of the application which is live in the cloud. Yeah, you do the shopping on the Flipkart, Snapdeal, Amazon. You do the banking transaction on the bank's website, like ICICI Bank, HDFC, Abhinam, and things like that. So you have every places, you have a one software which you are using it. If you want to store the file, you are using Dropbox, Google Drive. If you want to store the video, you are using YouTube and many more other services. If you want to do the development also, you are doing the development on the cloud, like Microsoft Azure, AWS, Amazon services, and things like that. So everything, whatever you do in today's world, okay, it is based on the cloud, software as a service, platform as a service, infrastructure as a service. So you are at the only one version of the software, and that version is being accessible by the millions of users, like just like you and me. And currently we are using one of the software which is like a webinar. So are we using the different version of the webinar? Of course not. We are using the same version of the webinar which you are connected. I'm also connected with the same thing. So these are the things what we use in the new model. So what we have got it. So this is the things which is like we discussed, like a new days of the software delivery. So what we have got it right now, if you have moved from the waterfall, and right now we are using the Agile, Scrum, and Kanban model. Earlier we used to do the releases in 6 months, 3 months, 1 year, probably 2 years sometimes. Now we have to do the releases in the shortest span of time. The reason is very simple. Earlier we were the consumption of the software used to be done in this isolated environment. So no one is connected, no one. Everyone is in different environments. So if a software has got some bugs, only that people will be impacted and is not going to impact any other people. But here, if you have one box in a Facebook.com, if one big box in a LinkedIn.com, or maybe one box in your office website or office email functionality, millions of users, thousands of users will be impacted with it. So what are the challenges? Challenges like everyone is connected to the same software. We are expecting the software should be up and running 24/7 without hiccups. So what is the expectation in terms of software company? What they are expecting? They are having expected in terms of delivery. The software which they are going to release to the market, the software which is going to make it live over the cloud, or maybe private cloud or public cloud, that software should be with the utmost quality with the minimal issues. And even though if you have issues, you should be able to fix those issues in a minimal span of time. And when I say minimal span of time, is not like a 6 months or 3 months or 1 year. It has to be 6 hours or 3 hours or 4 hours. So the challenges which you are getting right now, earlier we used to release the service packs once in a 3 months or 6 months, or sometime 1 week, or sometime in a month or something like that. Hot patches in a 1 week. If it is a very crucial issues like only compromising the security of the whole system, then you used to implement the hot patches, and that used to happen only minimum time used to take it for the week and all. And also in that cases also, not everyone will be applied with the hot patches. If someone will be there in the older, someone will be in the newer versions and stuff like that. But right now you'll have to fix not in a few days, not only in the few months, few weeks, rather than few hours. And that's a challenge what we have. Okay, so that is the one challenge we are facing right now. All the application which we are offering in the cloud, no matter whether it's a public and private, no matter whether it's offering as a IaaS, PaaS, or a SaaS, but it is on the one application, which is one version which is running 24/7, which is running, and people are expecting this to be up and running 24/7. And the challenge is what each organization is getting, the challenge is what each software company is getting. How do they move their software development model? How do they move their software development life cycle from the old to new? Because your mindset is like that. You want to do the things in a silo environment. Your team structure is working in a silo environment. Your tooling system, your automation systems, the way you think, everything is adapted to the old model, not new model. So how are you going to change how are you going to change your mindset, automation, tooling, practices, process to the new model? And this is something which we are going to discuss. So that is why we are learning the one of the concepts which you as a DevOps. So now what we have discovered till now, we have discovered, like earlier we used to burn the CDs. Now we are not burning any CDs anymore. We do the deployment immediately. Earlier we used to have a release cycle of the 6 months. Now we have a 6 hours or 4 hours or something like that. Earlier we used to follow the waterfall model. Now we have Agile, Kanban and Scrum model. Earlier we used to work in a silo environment, separate environments. Now we are not at all working in a separate environment, and the reason is only one thing: we have to make the production release in a shorter span of time, with the utmost quality, with the more cost effectiveness and things like that. So that's what we're going to discuss about today. So now, in order to move from the old model to new model, what are the things you're going to do that? What are the action items you're going to do that? So of course we're going to discuss some of the action items. But before discussing those action items, like how can you move from the old to new, how can you get a transition from old to new model, and we can start supporting the releases not for the 6 months but 6 hours, how can you do that? That's another question. But before that, you have to understand what is the issues what we had in the old model. Okay, what are the points which we are having which created the drawbacks in the new model, new expectations? So now if you look at it, any project team, any team, okay, so you have an architect, you have a developers, you have a QA, you have IT, you have a DB, you have a project management, you have an analytics team. So you have almost all the elements, you have it. But the one important thing, if you look at it currently, everyone is working in a silo environment. So QA is working and testing their application in a different environment, dev is working in a different environment, and no one is connected with each other. And in a simple word, developers are not connected with the QA, QA is not connected with developers, developers is not connected with the architect team, QA is not connected with the management team. So no one is connected with each other in a right perspective. Okay, now still they are connected just to accommodate the release which can happen in 6 months, 1 year. But right now that's not expectation. You have to do the release in 6 hours. You have to do the production release in 6 hours. You have to come out of the 6 month model, old model. So one of the things which every organization which they are facing is complex integration. So you have a very complex integration between the dev, in fact within a dev as well, within a QA, between the dev and QA, dev, architect, QA and release, and IT, DB and management. So everyone has a very complex integration, and that takes time, efforts, and which is ultimately delaying the release cycles. So can we avoid this complex integration? Can we make it smoother integration? Can we avoid the many wastage? So in order to avoid all this wastage and smooth the integration, you have to understand what are the pain which you are getting. What are the pain each organization is having? So this is the survey, one of the survey results which I am publishing on this slide. So if you look at it, it was surveys been done on the many software companies, and it was asked like whether do you need to organize, do you think like it is need to be organize your project, automate, increase the transparency, productivity, efficiency, efficiency, and you need more functionality and all. So in all the parameter, people have voted, people have completed survey with this saying that yes, I think like there's a still scope to improve, there's a still scope to increase the transparency, more functionality, more tools, more collaboration, more communication. That means people have realized it, yes, there's a still scope, even though they claim like we are 100% automated and 100% process driven, but still they feel like there is scope to improve in all the areas. And the moment you start feeling like, okay, there's a scope to improve, that is where we have to start finding out what is the problem which you are facing in your organization. How can you, what are the problems which you are facing in your organization? How can you overcome those problems and then move from the old model to new model? Okay, so one of the issues which we are facing in all the organization is like a painful outages. And painful, when I say like painful outages, it can be anything. Outages, it can be anything. It can be a software outages, it can be hardware outages, it can be process outages, it can be people outages, it can be anything. In a simple word, if you require some software to be up and running, and you are not and to do the releases, or to accomplish some of the task which leads to your do the successful releases, and if the services is not available, software is not available, maybe the software itself, license itself is not available, or maybe some sort of things which is making that things to be delayed, that's one sort of outages. If you need someone, some individuals, so you can do the better transition of the project through, and which you can move to the production releases. And if those resources are not available, that skill set is not available, that's again is outages. If you need a hardware, so you can test, deploy, and then number of things you can do, and if those things are not available, still it's outages. If management has not given a go-ahead with some of the crucial decisions, and they are spending time on it, that's again is outages. So in a simple word, earlier the model which we were having, which was like to do the releases once in a 6 month, 1 year, but now the model will not work here. We cannot wait for the things. We cannot, because my expectation, my organization is expecting to do the production release in 6 hours. That means everything has to happen immediately rather than later. Okay, so here we have so many painful outages which we are inheriting from the old model in terms of project, in all the software cultures and things like that, in terms of outages, in terms of software, hardware, people, process, and things like that, permissions and things like that. So that's one of the pain area what each organization is facing. One of the pain area, one of the other issues which every organization is facing, like we are spending more time on the maintaining and supporting the product and keep it running, but not adding any incremental values. So we might be working in a project, and we are just maintaining it. We are just making sure that the project should be up and running 24/7. There should not be any problem, but we are not working on to improve the system functionality, features, enhancement, automations, and things like that. That's a pain area for the organization, because the moment you stop adding the incremental value to the product, to a project, to a process, or to the workflow, then the same moment you start getting into the downside of your life cycle. So basically you're going to get basically your competitor will do the better things, and they will replace you in a sort of span of time. So it's like this. So basically no incremental values have been done for each organization. So this is the pain area what each organization is facing with. Other issues what each organization is facing and which we have inheriting, these are the things which is from the old model, is like slow IT. So if you need a machine, let's say you need 100 servers where you can deploy the software, so you can run the automation testings, and if you run the automation testings, you will come to know whether this package is sufficient and which eligible candidate for the release or not. It's just like you need some servers to be up and running within a certain amount of time, and probably you need it for the 1 hour, 2 hours, or 5 hours, but not later point of the time. But now you need it now, not to do tomorrow, not next week or next month. But if you look at the how IT works, you send an email to managers, manager will send an email to IT managers, IT will ask the availability of with IT engineers, IT engineers will respond with the availability like do we have our availability or not, and then the same request will be sent to account and finance department to get the new finance approval. Finance approval will come, then IT will acquire the hardware, and then they will set up everything as usual, and then they will give it to you. So by the time they give it to you, it's almost 1 month is over. And the thing is, the requirement was very simple. You need 100 boxes now, so you can do the production releases tomorrow, today, or something like that. So slow IT is one of the things which you are inheriting it from the old model. So how can you overcome it? So this is one of the another problem which each organization is facing. Now another issue what each organization is facing with infighting. Like we are fighting with each other. QA fight with each other, with dev fight with the architect team, QA fight with the IT team, DB teams, and project management fight with everyone. So basically when I say fighting, that means blame each other for the things which you are not doing, and for the things which is getting delayed actually. So basically simply you blame two other teams like that. Okay, I'm not responsible, I'm not accountable, I'm not having the I'm not being empowered for that because I'm not responsible for that task. Someone else is responsible, and if that team or that guy is doing that work, so I can do that my work as well, but I'm waiting for that. I'm waiting for his task to be done, I'm waiting for his approval, I'm waiting for that knowledge transfer, I'm waiting for something. So everyone blame each other, everyone fight with each other in the old model. Okay, so this is one of the pain area what we are facing. So what we have discussed so far is, let me summarize just in a two minutes. We have discussed, like we have tried to understand the kind of software consumptions we were doing, and then we tried to correlate with the kind of software delivery model we had it. After that we discussed like what are the current consumptions, trend in the software consumptions, and what is the expectation what we have it, so we can match with the current consumption of the software. Okay, so to match this and to overcome of all the drawbacks which we are inheriting from the past, we have tried to discover some of the things, and some of the things which we have discovered as part of the pain area what each organization is facing is infighting, slow IT, no incremental value, painful outages, complex integration, and so on. So these are the things which we have got it, and it's a kind of pain for the organization. They want to come out of this pain so they can support the current consumptions of the software trends. Okay, but not only pain what we have it from and which we are inheriting from the old model, but also we have so many wastage. And wastage, when we talk about it, like the things which we have it, but we are not able to utilize it because of some mindset, because of some old mindset, because of some wrong process, or maybe unnecessary process, or because of some limitation which we have put it ourselves actually. And one of the waste which is we have it is a knowledge waste. Knowledge waste is something like this. When you talk about the team right now and in the current world, then you do not say like you are a dev guy, you are a QA guy, you are IT, you are a DB, you are an architect, you are management. We are not calling these as a team. We are calling everyone as a team who is responsible to do the production release to that particular software. Okay, so here in the old scenario, if you look at it, earlier, let's say like you want to do some automation in QA team. So if QA knows like if I do this automation, probably I'll be able to shave n number of hours. Now what he has to do? He knows like maybe you have a skill set available in the dev team, but the process is not like you can directly reach out to the dev team and get their number of hours and you can start making the things happen. Now what you have to do to get the skill set, what dev has it, you have to approach to your QA manager. QA manager will talk to the dev manager. Dev manager will again ask all the individuals who's working in the development team and how much they can spend their time on it. It depends on the voluntarily someone is willing to take up those extra work, and then those will be assigned. So by that time, you probably, it's just a 1 hour of work, but n number of hours you spend on the communication, approval, process, and things like that. So this is the one of the instance. It is a kind of knowledge waste. That means you have ability within a team, you have a skill set, you have a resources, you have all these things which can be used in efficient way, effective way to make the things better, but you are not using it, and that's a waste. Because if you have it but you are not using it, that's a waste. So how can you avoid this wastage? One of the other waste what we have is like a waiting waste. And when I say waiting waste, like I'm waiting for servers to be up and running, I'm waiting for the QA things to be up and running, I'm waiting for the database to be created, I'm waiting for the access to be granted, I'm waiting for the manager approval, I'm waiting for some consent from the team, I'm waiting for something. I'm not doing it because I'm waiting for some inputs from the other teams. So that's a waste actually in the current world, because the expectation is simple. They have to do the production release in a short span of time, because we have no time. So like earlier, which you have to have 6 months, 3 months, 1 year, or something like that. At that time, we can wait it, because we can wait for that, because the process was like that. We were following that model because we want to match with the release cycles what we had it earlier. But right now, we don't have a time to wait for anything. And when you look at it, that you should start asking why we are waiting. Can we avoid this waiting wastage? Okay, so this is one of the waste what we have it, and we'll have to overcome all this. One of the waste what we have is like overproduction waste. Overproduction waste is like we do the production. We work on some of the features, you work on some of the modules, you work on some of the agenda, which you work on some of the automation tasks, you work on some of the things which is not related to other software and client expectation, which is not related to the software, which is not basically adding any incremental values to the product, rather than it just we are doing some automation for the sake of doing it. Okay, so some of the things we just do development, do work on those things without having understanding the big picture, without having the things. So it's not your mistake, it's not my mistake, it's not the project management mistake, it's the mistake of everyone. Because if you are not having understanding of the big picture, then basically this is a mistake which is in this is the flaws in terms of you have to create a such kind of process. So every engineer should understand the big picture. Every engineer should understand what is the end goal, what is the end user client expectation, what is the software is supposed to behave. So that's kind of knowledge you should share. But rather than you're trying to understand the big picture of the domain which you are working on, or the software which you are working on, simply do something and just it's not adding any value to the product or a project, and it's just overproduction. So you do something which is not good for the project. So other things what we have in terms of other waste is like in terms of over processing waste. So when we say over processing waste here, here we do talk about the processing waste which is not needed. You do process, you do follow the process just because of the you used to be this process has been there from last 10 years or 15 years, but you have never questioned whether that process is still needed. Do you still need those kind of process to be followed? There should not be any reason like if I'm following from the last 10 years, I should be following the same thing for now, because my expectation was different at that time of the and the consumption of the software was different. The way we are consuming the software was different, but right now it's different. So we'll have to see that what are the process which you are following which is not needed, which is not adding any values, which is not making any sense. Ultimately, this kind of process which is delaying your the things overall, the speed and things like that. So you have to also work on the over processing. So one of the examples is like this: if you need access to the SCM servers, or maybe some of the build servers, or maybe code servers, or somewhere, you know that you're going to get it maybe not today but tomorrow or day after tomorrow, but still wait. you send the approval emails. Everyone knows you're the part of this team. Everyone knows about you're the part of this responsibility you have assigned with. Everyone knows that they can trust you without knowing, because you're the part of this organization, you're a part of the team. But still you follow granting access, then access is been given by waiting for the n number of days or things like that. So this is nothing but overprocessing. Okay, so we should try to find out what are the things which we are doing currently, which is just like a putting unnecessary hiccups on the process and unnecessary waste. Okay, another waste which we have is like motion waste, on the motion on which we transfer and do the things. Like we do the development, we do the testing, we do the static code analysis, we do the packaging, we do the deployment, we do the discussions as well. We have so many things we do that. And on what motion we are doing these activities. Are we doing at the right pace, or we are just simply calling for some discussion and unnecessarily, without having understanding the scope, we are discussing in n number of ways. So we'll have to also understand those motion waste. One of the waste again we have is the transportation waste. And when you talk about the transportation waste, it's nothing but the moving the artifact from the one phase to another phase. Let's say you have code which is lying in the source code repository. You have to build it, you have to integrate all these modules, and you have to move from the staging to integration to the testing environment, testing to pre-production, and then production. So you follow n number of activities. You do the packaging, you do the build, you do the deployment, you do the release, you do the n number of things. You do the security analysis, you do the static code analysis, you do the code coverage, you do the unit testing, you do the acceptance testing. So you do a hell lot of things. But the thing is, you do a hell lot of things as part of the different stages, and you spend a hell lot of time moving the same artifact from the one stage to another stage. Basically you spend a lot of time. So we are wasting so many times in terms of transportation waste, moving our software artifact from the one phase to another stage. So that's again is a waste. One of the waste, which is a correction waste, which you must be very aware of it. Correction waste is nothing but a bug fixing. So we spend a hell lot of hours on the bug fixing. Many of the project which is basically been set it up just to fix the bug. But right now, probably this was the age which we were doing the bug fixing a lot, probably 10 years, 5 years before and things like that. But now this is the age where people are not talking about how to do the bug fixing. Rather, people are talking about how to avoid the maximum number of a bug before the releases itself. And this is the age, because here you cannot do the releases and then wait for the bugs. And you're let's say you're a guy, let's say you're Amazon.com, and you are doing the release, and you are expecting you probably 100 bucks to be there in the software, and you are doing the release and it is live, and now probably just because of the bug, out of 10 hours probably your 1 hour is down just because of some issues, and you just expect this 1 hour because we have got it 1 hour because of this so and so bugs, and we will fix it after this next release. Now the thing is, 1 hour of the downtime is basically a huge losses for you, not in terms of only revenue. Of course, it's one of the important things, revenue, where you're not going to place any order for that, but also it's going to spoil your image actually. So the person who's accessing your portal at a specific time where you have down the software, probably they might not come to you again, assuming like you'll not be up. So there could be a lot of circumstances in which you lose the business. So now the thing is, you cannot expect to have a downtime. So what is the precaution you're going to take it? So basically you're going to take a precaution. So you're going to spend more time on to improving your flaws between the integration, making sure the release which you're doing should be 100% with the quality approved. It should be a quality release, quality bug fixing should be, quality coding should be done, and things like that before the release itself. So you want to make sure all the process in place before the release, rather than doing the release and getting into all sort of problems. So this is the correction way. So now this is the model which we are having in the current model. These are the wastage we are having. You spend a lot of time on the correction rather than adding incremental value, rather than adding a new software into it. So now one of the things which we have received one of the reports and research over the Info magazine, and it was long back, and one of the research which was I read long back, like 70% of the bugs which is being introduced in the software post the release is just because of bad programming practices. So 70% of the bugs is being introduced just because of that. So can we avoid the bad programming practices itself? So can we motivate our developer to write a better program, or can we put some mechanism in which we enforce the policies or process, and we can put everything together, so people, what the developers, what they were writing the program, it should be only quality programs. So can we do it at the initial stage only, rather than doing the bad code release and facing the issues with the bugs and the downtime, and then wasting our times on the correction waste. So can we do that? So this is another waste. One of the other waste which we have, like inventory waste. And when we talk about the inventory waste, it is nothing but as a kind of infrastructure or software or people or people you have within your project, but you are not able to use it because you are not allowed to use it because of so and so reason. So let's say someone is idle, and you know that some skill set is available, you know that, but you cannot use it because you are not allowed to contact him, you're not allowed to approach him, you're not allowed to ask him for this task. You know that he's idle, but you're not allowed to do that. Okay, maybe you know that in a QA teams probably you need hundreds of servers, maybe that's lying in the development environment unused, but you're not allowed to use it because it's assigned to developments. You cannot use it because it's not assigned to QA. The inventories are available, the resources are available, hardware is available, people are available, skill sets are available, but you are not allowed to use it. So this is nothing but a kind of the things which we are inheriting from the old model, and then it's nothing but a kind of inventory waste. So far we have discussed so many things, and some of the things which you have discussed like waste, some of the things which you have discussed like a pain area, what is the solution? So we try to find out many issues, and now we'll have to define it, what is the solution. And solution is DevOps. DevOps is a solutions which is going to help you to come out of all the pain area which we have discussed, which is going to help you in terms of avoiding the wastage which you had it so far, and some of the things which you have discussed. And then DevOps is a kind of process, culture, automation is going to improve your productivity, quality of the software, reduce the release cycle to the drastic in a less span of time, and things like that. So DevOps is a magic, kind of magic. So now if you want to define more about in terms of expectation of the DevOps, so basically DevOps is more in line with the lean principles. And if you know the lean principle, which is being discussed in the Agile workshop as well, and lean principle is focused on some of the important pillars, and some of the pillars are like a focus on the customer values, eliminate wastage, reduce cycle time, shared learnings, avoid batching, and theory of constraint. So basically lean principle which was applied in the manufacturing industries in Japan, in a Toyota, okay, and the reason to apply these principles was very simple. They were not having a space so they can start and they can set up the more factory, but rather than setting up the new factory and improving the productivity, they wanted to work on using the same capacity. They wanted to utilize for the multiplying their production, Toyota car production. So they said like, okay, we're going to come up with some of the principles which we're going to practice it every time, and which is going to help us our production to the multiple fold. And this is the principle which was applied in the manufacturing industries in the last century. Okay, so As per the Gene Kim says, IT is the factory floor for this century. Earlier, manufacturing was the factory floor for the last century. But for this century, we'll have to automate the IT. We have to increase the productivity. We have to improve the software quality. And IT is the factory floor for this century, and we'll have to work together on this. Okay, so ultimately, we could find out, okay, DevOps is a kind of magic which is going to help you in terms of getting rid of all the pains and avoid all the wastage, and then which is going to improve your software productivity, reduce the cost, reduce the release cycles and things like that. But what is the DevOps? Still we have not defined what is the DevOps. We know that DevOps can solve these many issues, these many problems, but what is the DevOps? So DevOps is basically a culture. DevOps, the first and foremost rule is a DevOps is a culture which we practice. Remember, culture, it cannot be enforced. Culture has to be respected. It has to be adhered. It has to be practiced. It has to be practiced every day. Okay, this is all about the culture. So culture, DevOps is a culture. DevOps is a way to automate the each and everything. DevOps is a way to monitor each and everything what you are doing, and DevOps is about the sharing. Okay, so when you're going to define the DevOps, DevOps is a culture, DevOps is automation, DevOps is a monitoring, DevOps is a sharing, and these are the 4 pillars we're going to discuss in upcoming slides. Okay, so now we know that what we are here, why we are attending this this webinar, and we are going to attend this webinar because we want to improve the productivity of our project. We want to work on some of the new things which is happening in the current world, which we are going to implement some of the new things which people are expecting us to do that. And the reason you are here because you are expecting everything should be done quickly, everything should be up and running 24/7, and that's the expectation what we are having, and someone has to achieve this to meet with this expectation. Someone has to do some sort of things, and which is nothing but the DevOps, which ultimately bringing the new culture, doing the new sort of automation, sharing and learnings. Okay, so now let's get started. So now what you're going to do, before spending more time on the upcoming slides, what you're going to do, I'm going to take up some of the moments, answering some of your questions what you have it, and then probably we will move further. Okay, so it's a question time. Let's get started. Okay, so there's one question from Tirupata Rao. How do we have a release management in modern days? So when we say the release management, it's again, it's not a short answer, to be honest. You have to define it. What are the things you would like to do? And then you're going to define it. How can you do it without putting additional pressure on any individuals or team, and the process should be smooth and it should be auto-driven. Probably you're going to use some of the tools which will help you to do the auto-driven these activities and put it together. The main thing in the release management, like you should be having the visibility. Okay, visibility of across the things, what is going on, what is how many numbers of bugs is going to be fixed, how many number of release you're going to, enhancement you're going to do, what their status is all about it, whether it's in line with it, our expectation or our timeline or not, and all these things. So you're going to get it, all these things, transitions from the like you're going to get the visibility about across all the projects in terms of dev, QA, IT, build, release, DB, and all those things. Once you connect the team with each other, like once you integrate all the people with each other and the process with each other and the tools with each other, and then only you can talk about the new modern days of the software release management. Okay, so again, it's like a very large topic. It's a huge topic which you have asked, so well, it's not a short to answer. I'm sorry about it. So it's like this. Okay, so there's one question from Santosh. Was there a Devo Plus last week? Yes. So we have a webinar every week, and we had a class actually on this DevOps again. This is a repeat class actually. So Aditya Prati, can small companies adopt DevOps? Very well. So as I said, DevOps is a culture, automation, learning and sharing. So it's not a difficult to adopt for the large organization as well as small organization. Anyone can adopt as long as they want their productivity to be improved, transitions to be done from the old model to new model, new way of doing the things in a shorter span of time and things like that. As we have already discussed, so many expectation what we have it, and this expectation can come from the small, mid or large organization. It can come from the any places. Okay, so this one question from the Karthik. Can this model be applied to a project which has a quarterly release rather than ad hoc release? Yes, this is very much valid thing. So when I say you are going to migrate from the 6 hours to 6 months to 6 hours, it does not mean like you are going to do the releases only in 6 hours. Okay, I'm just trying to tell you the importance of the transition which we are having from the old time to new time. But here in your case, if you are doing the quarterly release once in a 3 months or once in a 4 month, okay, then in that case also you can improve the software, you can improve the quality of the software, you can integrate the teams, you can integrate the different stages, different environments and different people, and the things which you do that if you implement the DevOps here also, the things which will be impacted, like your productivity will be increasing. So in case now you are probably fixing 10 bugs, after implementing the DevOps, probably you'll be able to fix 30 bugs. Probably if you are doing the enhancement 5 using the same capacity, you'll be doing enhancement 15 or 10 or something like that. So it's a way to improve the productivity, improve the quality of the software, not only reducing the release cycles. Okay, so I hope, and Karthik, I answered this question. There's one question from the Ghana Reddy. More frequent releases need to do more documentation work. What is the best practice to do effective frequent releases? So it is like this. When I say more frequented release need to do the more documentation, I would not agree with it, because here as part of the DevOps what we are practicing it, sharing and learning by sharing. And these two are very important things. So when you share, the share should not be like you're going to start writing a document or you're going to start writing the whole list of the batches and things like that. It's not like that. We should be enabling such a kind of mechanism in which you are getting all the documentation points automatically. So probably if you are going to release the n number of bugs, then probably you're going to get it from the Jira, and if you have properly do the project management using all the process properly, or probably you're going to, if you want to find out how many fixes you have done, so you might get it from the other tools also. So if you are connected with each other, probably if you want to know the builds, you're going to get it from the Jenkins, you're going to get it from some of the metrics from the Sonar Cube, you're going to get it some of the metrics from the planning tools as well. So the thing is, you have to integrate all these tools together. Okay, so the documentation should be automated, streamlined and self-explanatory, and rather than you're going to spend a lot of time on the writing the documentation. The next question from the Jayadeep: how to bring the changes of the DevOps to traditional world? How to bring the changes to the, so again, when we say like how, I have not talked about it, and still I'm in the middle of the discussion of the DevOps. So on the how part, I'm going to discuss in some time. So just let's wait for it. There's one question from the Karthik. Can this model be applied to a project which has a, okay, this I think I have replied already. And there's one question from the Sunil. Are we going to discuss about the continuous integration, continuous delivery in the future slides? My only doubt was DevOps is a combination of the CI/CD all together, right? I think you are very close to Sunil. Just wait for the half an hour more and I'm going to answer this question. Okay. Dipali Pati. So now she's asking, what is the challenges team need to face while converting traditional model to the DevOps? And some of the challenges which we have already discussed now, Dipali, the wastage what we have, these are nothing but challenges. The pain area, which is nothing but challenges, and how you're going to come out of these challenges and the pain area, that's you're going to discuss, and that's what we are going to discuss. So now what we're going to do, I'm going to get back to my discussion now, and then I'm going to talk about the journey of the DevOps, because we did enough jargon, and in that we discussed about how can you what are the scenarios in which you are adopting the new process, and that's called DevOps. So now we have discussed so far. Now we're going to also understand how you're going to do the transition in the into the DevOps. So as I said, DevOps is nothing but the first is culture. So first thing which you'll have to do is like changing the culture. Okay, so you have to implement the new culture, new mindset, and not you have to implement the new culture, but you have to practice it. You have to practice it every day. And this culture has to happen at the every level. It has to happen at the dev level, QA level, IT level, DV level, management level, organization level. So at the each level, you have to change the culture. So from the old culture to the new culture, and the most important things, you have to change your mindset. The way you used to take it up earlier, now you have to think in a different perspective, whether it's needed anymore, whether it's required, whether it's adding any values, whether it's important. You're going to ask all these things again on this. So now, how can you change the culture? How can you change the mindset of the employees? So some of the points which I'm going to discuss here is one of the points which we're going to discuss, like you are going to empower your employees. You are going to empower all of your stakeholder of your project who is responsible for the product delivery. So it may include dev, it may include QA, IT, DV, management, everyone. So basically you're going to empower them. So in a simple word, you're going to give them the authority so they can do the things themselves, rather than wasting lots of time in the process waste, waiting lots of time in the waiting waste, waiting lots of time in terms of transportation waste, getting pain sort of the like infighting with each other and for the blaming each other and things like that. So you're going to avoid so many wastage and so many pain area by empowering all of your employees. Okay. Second things which you have to give it, and you have organization has to give it to the employees, like you are accountable for this activities. Everyone is accountable. You cannot say it is not my fault, I'm not accountable. Yes, you are accountable. This is your activity and you are supposed to answer these things. So everyone in your team will be accountable for the anything which is happening. So you cannot say, no, this is my dev activity, this is QA activity, this is IT activity. No, because everyone is a one team now. In a DevOps practices, there's no dev team as such, there's no QA team as such, there's no team IT team as such. Maybe probably you are doing a work related to the dev or QA or IT or DB or management, but everyone is accountable. And these are the things you have to set in your mindset. You cannot say I'm not accountable. So the moment you start getting more ownership, the moment you start getting more ownership, empowered with the activities, and you become accountable, then you will start taking the more ownership, and then you start moving the things faster than the before. Okay, we'll have to also enable our mindset to work as a team. So remember, you must be wondering, like, do you suggest like we were not working as a team in the older model? I would say actually we were working in a team in an older model as well, but the thing is we were working as a team in an older model to support the release cycle of the 6 month, to support the release cycle of the 3 months, support the release cycle of the 1 year. Now you have to define the meaning of the team. Okay, you have to define the meaning of the team so you can do the release in few hours. You can do the production release in few hours. So you'll have to basically redefine the whole things, and ultimately you have to work together. So you cannot say dev this, I'm a dev and we have a team and we're working as a dev team very well, and I'm a QA, I'm from the QA and I'm working with other QA folks very well. This is not a team actually. This is not the definition of the team in the current world, in the DevOps world. In this current world, everyone who's responsible for the product delivery, no matter whether it's from the manager, lead, architect, development, QA, IT, build and release, and operations, everyone is one team and everyone has to work together. Okay, so now you cannot compete, we cannot fight with each other, you cannot blame and things like that. Next important things you have to change in your style, the way you think, and the change in your mindset is like learning. Okay, so you have to learn by sharing the information. Okay, you have to learn by sharing the information. So learning about what? Learning about the other things, what is big pictures, what my project is doing, what are the different components we have it. If I'm from the QA, what are the dev team are doing, where I can contribute more so dev team will be faster. Maybe I'm from the dev, I should look at the QA team and I should understand what they are doing and where I can contribute more so they can be faster, where we can share the information, where we are sharing the learning, teachings and things like that. So here you are learning by sharing. It's not like that you're going to call for the meetings or KT sessions or training room sessions or something like that. Basically, it should be smooth. So whatever you know, you should be shared on the platform which is common across the organization, and automatically it should be driven. Because see, if I have no information about one of the module, how it works, probably I'm going to ask for it. But what about if I get the same information, probably I'm doing the bugs fixing in the midnight or maybe afternoon or early morning, and the person is not available, or maybe he's busy with something else, then my task is getting delayed, right? My task will be getting delayed until he's available. So if everyone starts sharing a practice of, everyone will start sharing and start a kind of practice in which they share the information automatically at some common platform, so it will be, it's like a platform where people can learn based upon their needs and then can get you the information the way they need it. So here what we are trying to do, we have to change our mindset. We have to enable a kind of platform. We're going to learn from each other by sharing. Okay, and this is one of the important things which we'll have to bring into our mindset, and the issue is trust. Okay, so you'll have to trust each other. So sometime, because you know DevOps is one of the things also is related to automation. So many people think, so many folks think things like, if I automate everything and I transfer all this automation to the as part of the team integration, so automatically it will be run. So where will be my stance? Where will be my roles? Where will be my responsibility? So it's like this. This is a new model. If you do not automate, probably you're not losing a job now, but of course you'll be losing a job tomorrow, because your product will not be competing in the market because of the more bugs, and because of the late release, or because of your bugs in the software, or because of n number of issues, because your competitors are doing fine. So anyways, you will lose the job, not now, probably after a few months, but here after the few months, if you lose the job, and if you have not learned the new practices, then other organization, probably you might find it difficult to get into it. Okay, so here you're going to learn the technology, new process, new tool set, new technology. You're going to automate it, whatever the possibilities are, and then you're going to contribute it without having a fear of losing job, because it's never going to happen like a person can do everything. Remember, a product delivery can happen only as a team, and when you talk about a team, then everyone is required. Development, QA, IT, DV, everyone is required, and each of these people are playing the very important role. So now here you are not going to say like, I do not code. Basically, developers are writing a code for the product. QA is writing a code again for the testing the product, and infrastructure guys, IT guys, ops guys is also writing a product to making the infrastructure available for the dev and QA and release and production. So basically here in this world, in the world of the DevOps, everyone is working on the automation, everyone is doing the coding some sort of other, and this is why. So you have to start trusting each other, you have to start sharing with each other, you have to start working as a team, you have to be accountable, you have to start feeling that accountability within yourself, you have to get empowered. So your organization should empower you. And ultimately, once you get empowered, once you become a more accountable, you start working as a team, learning trust and things like that, then ultimately you are reinforcing the values of the respect each other, honesty with each other, integrity, maintaining the integrity of the organization, and have the ethics and in the software project. Ultimately you're going to follow this one. So this is the one of the things what each organization has a motto. This is the game mission of the each organization. Okay, so ultimately the moment you practice it, this all stuff, you're going to reinforce the values of the organization. So this is the change which has to happen in the mindset of all the employees. But not only the employees mindset change will help you to improve the productivity, reduce the life cycle of the releases, or reduce the cost and things like that. Also changing the mindset of the organization is also very important. So not only you have to change, your organization also has to change. So when you talk about the organization has to change, you have to look at it, you have to, each organization has to have a understanding about that, what is their vision, where they want to achieve it, what they want, what is their missions. So where basically what they are trying to do. Because if organization is not willing to have any mission or vision or something like that, even though if you are changing yourself, no, it's not going to make a benefit, you're not going to do a benefit for any projects on automation. Okay, so organization should be having a clear vision on this thing. Next things, or what organization should be having the attitude of recognizing the bottlenecks. So when we say like recognizing the bottlenecks, is like this, recognizing the problem area, recognizing the issues, recognizing the waste, recognizing the pain, what we have discussed so far. Each organization should recognize it, should say, yes, I'm having a problem area, I'm having waste, I'm having a pain, because the moment you say you have no issues, no one can help you to improve. The moment you start saying you have so many issues and you want to work on those issues to improve upon, then only the things will come into the picture about the improvement. Okay, so organization has to recognize the bottlenecks. Okay, and also organizations should not be scared of doing the reorganizing the team. So now remember, earlier we form a team of the IT, development, management, QA, release, sales and all things like that, because we wanted to release the product once in a 6 month or once in a year. But here in this world, in the current scenario, you are releasing a product every few hours. You want the production release packages to be available every day. So in this scenario, you should be ready to do the reorg. So now you are not being called as IT or dev or QA or DB or management, but you are being called as a DevOps team. Okay, maybe you are doing your activities related to the dev team. Okay, because the mindset will not change immediately, but you are being called as a DevOps team. So organizations should be willing to reorg the activities, and they should be able to share the responsibility. So as Adrian says, DevOps is a reorg, not a new team to hire. So it's not like that if you want to implement the DevOps in your project, then you're going to hire many engineers, which you call it a DevOps engineer or something like that. DevOps is a reorg. Of course, DevOps engineer will join your project, and they'll bring the right practice, right process, right tool set, and right automation. But ultimately, everyone has to work together. Okay, so like this. So now organizations should be also willing to share the resources. And when I say the share the resources, so let's say you have the cross resources, like dev should be also doing some of the activities related to QA, IT should be also doing some of the activities to the dev, and vice versa. So basically they should be sharing the responsibility of each other. And what will be the benefit for this? If you start sharing the responsibility of each other, then you'll be becoming more accountable, more empowered, more more worthy for the project. You understand the world which you have never understood before. You understand the big picture of the whole whole product. You understand the client expectation. You understand the end-to-end cycle, so you can do the things faster than rather than waiting for something, or getting stuck with the process or some skill set. Okay, and then ultimately organizations also should create a platform where you can do the proper hands-on. So transferring the information from the one person to another person automatically, transferring the task from the one team to another team, one geography to another geography, and they should be enabling such kind of smooth transitions of the hands-off also. And at last, they should be willing to streamline the process by doing self-assessment. Okay, so organizations should do the self-assessment, seeing that what are their stage, what are the things they want to do. So they should not be having like, I'm the perfect, my project is perfect, my process is perfect, we are 100% automated. There should be proper realistic self-assessment done, and then we should try to eliminate all the wastage, and which we have discussed so far. And the wastage which we have discussed so far is nothing but a transportation, overproduction, waiting, overstock, defect, rework, scrap, useless motions, and useless processes. So these are the wastage what we have and which we are inheriting from the old model. Okay, so these are the stuff which we have it. So now what I am going to do, I am going to also discuss some of the stereotype. So I'm going to also discuss some of the stereotype what we have in the current practice. So we say like, we have a stereotype like say dev and ops, and we always think as a dev, we think like operation is very slow, they're very temperamental, they're too rigid about the changes, always say no for everything, and too dumb to understand the application. But same time, ops thinks about the dev, they are impatient, temperamental, careless about the changes, prima donna, and ignorant about the real world. Okay, so one is saying you are ignorant about the real world, other is saying too dumb to understand the apps. It's not a truth actually, it is just a stereotype. You assume like they don't understand our world, but it's not the case. It's just because of our process is defined in a certain ways. We have so many waiting wastage, so many motion wastage, so many correction wastage, so many pain area which you have, and these things which have saved our futures and saved our environments. You'll have to come out of it. Many people says if you implement the DevOps, security will be compromised. Again, it is a stereotype, because if you implement the DevOps, you will do the more frequent things, and the security check will be as part of your pipeline, as part of the repetition flow which you do every few hours. So basically, you will be doing the more security check in this DevOps rather than you will be doing the few times security check only during the releases in a new old model. Many people say compliance will not be met if you implement the DevOps. That's again stereotype. Many people say if your team and projects working in the remote location, then you will not be able to implement the DevOps. Again, this is just a stereotype. Many people say it is going to impact you. It's going to impact your job. If you automate a DevOps, if you automate and streamline everything, then your importance will be going away. You will lose the job and stuff like that. This is just an irrational fear of the DevOps. Okay, so it's not truth. And many people say like you cannot apply the DevOps at legacy product, and this again is a stereotype. This is wrong assumptions. DevOps is just a practice. DevOps is a cultural changes. DevOps is a new way of thinking the things. DevOps is to automate share, learn from each other and improve the productivity. It's not related to whether you want to apply on the legacy product or the new product. Okay, and many people think I do not have a technology, I do not have the new tools and new process, thus I cannot implement the DevOps. This is against just a stereotype, because remember, the most important pillar to implement the DevOps is mindset. If you have a right mindset, then technology is not a barrier for implementing the DevOps. With this, I'm going to wrap it up this discussion and moving to the next discussion, which is nothing but automation. So ultimately what I'm trying to say here is, if you want to implement the DevOps, you want to do the transition into the DevOps, first and most important things which you'll have to do is you have to change your mindset. You have to start thinking in the new direction. You have to stop thinking in the old typical direction, and the moment you start changing your mindset, changing your culture, becoming more accountable, becoming more empowered, start sharing and start learning by sharing, start trusting each other, then that is the starting point for the implementing and transitioning into the DevOps. Okay, so with this, what I am going to do, I'm going to spend some 5 minutes of the time frame answering all of your questions and then move on to our next topics, is like talking about the automation, because till now what I did talk about only about the cultural changes, but the most important thing which you would like to know about, like how can you do in real world, how can you do the automation using the very different practices, different tools, and so on. So these are the things I'm going to discuss in some time. Before that, let me address some of your questions what you have. So there's one question from Deepali N. Okay, and the question is, what are the challenges team need to face while converting traditional model to the DevOps? So challenges is again is like a first challenges, which is like a mindset, because everyone has got a habit of doing the things which is in the older way, but now you'll have to adopt a new way of the thinking. You have to look at the wastage which we have discussed. We'll have to look at the pain area which you have discussed, and you have to understand, you have to recognize those pain area, and then they start finding the solution for it. So this is how it is. Okay, so now next question is, which is I'm going to take from the Karthik Bandi. Is DevOps similar to Agile? How it is different for Agile? So basically, Agile is one of the element as part of the DevOps. Okay, so again, Agile development is the kind of way in which you can plan for the shorter milestone rather than longer milestone. So you can deliver the shorter milestone, so your release can be faster, you do the more iteration, your verification is done more frequently, so you release the product with the quality rather than just waiting for the last moment in the 6 month and do the release. So this is one of the things. So when I say probably as per my understanding with the things, Agile is one of the subset of the DevOps. So DevOps has much more than things. Okay, and again we're going to discuss about it. Okay, so I'm going to take one more question from the upside, and the question is, okay, so probably that person he has already left, so let's leave this question as it is. Okay, so now what I am going to discuss is, I am going to discuss about the how can you do the automation. How can you do the automation? So if you want to do the automation, we have to do the, first of all, you have to change your mindset. Organization has to change your mindset, and then you have to start doing the changes. So now you have so many things which you can automate, and here I am talking about only some of the things. Okay, so you have so many things in a product, in a project, where you can do automation. And one of the things which you can do automation in terms of how you're going to collaborate with each other. and with each individual folks. So now there's there should not be old way of the meeting, like inviting for the meeting, and then you're going to meet at the some certain places and you're going to spend time on it and something like that. You're going to wait for the inputs from the everyone. Basically now you need to collaborate with each other. So you have a new technology, and some of the tools which is very popular is like Skype, where you can talk immediately rather than waiting for someone. Okay, and something. You're going to use also Slack, which is a very powerful collaboration tool between the teams actually. Some of the tools which we have, we want to share the learnings, whatever you know, and as I said, like learning by sharing. Okay, so we're going to share the information. So one of the platform which is very popular is like WordPress. Also we have a GitHub wiki. We do have some of the planning tools, which is like a Trello, Visual Studio Online. We do have some of the very popular tool for the under the issue tracking, which is includes like Jira, Zendesk. We do have some of the monitoring tools as well, starting with the Logstash, Kivna, New Relic, and things like that. We do have some of the tools from in terms of configuration management, and these tools are like a Chef Engine, Puppet, Chef, Salt Lake, Ansible, and many more. And in fact, Chef, I'm going to do a demo as well in this session, in this webinar. And then we are going to have a source control tool, which is you have a Git, Subversion, CBS, and all things like that. So let me tell you, these are the tools. Not every tools you're going to learn. Probably you're going to take one tool out of each bucket, and you're going to get expertise to become a successful DevOps engineer. Okay, or maybe if you want to transition your project into the DevOps, you're going to understand only one tool, because you may be having different solutions, but not every solution you're going to apply for the one requirements. Okay, so it's like this. Some of the tools we have in the dev environment is like CodeEnvy and Vagrant. Some of the tools we have in terms of continuous integration is like Jenkins, TeamCity, Travis, Bamboos, and many more. Some of the tools we have in the continuous delivery is like CloudFormation, Packer, Docker, Octopus Deploy, and Go. Some of the tools we have in the repo management, where you can manage your repository, is like Nexus, Artifactory, Archiva, NuGet. And some of the tools we have for the packaging management, and some of them you must be knowing, like an install sheet, install engineer, RPM, WAR, ER, JAR, NuGet, and things like that. Build automation, we do have a Maven, Make, JAR, Gradle, MS Build, and Make, and many more. So with this introduction of the tool set, these tools will help you to automate, integrate, share, collaborate, and avoid the lots of pain what we have discussed so far, avoid the lots of wastage which I have discussed so far, and basically have a tight integration, and ultimately which is going to improve your productivity, improve the code quality, reduce the build cycles, and things like that. So this is the way you're going to do the implementation. But here is the case. Not only by implementing changing the culture or implementing the automation, you are going to reach to the DevOps. You'll have to also understand some of the practices as well. Okay, because without following those practices, reaching out to the DevOps is a little bit difficult. So what are you going to do? What are the practices we have it? So some of you guys have asked agile development. Yes. So as part of it, agile development is one of the practices which we have under the DevOps, which you follow, and we improve the productivity of the software. We improve the quality of the software. We do have one of the process which we have like continuous integration. Okay, and one of the other process we have like a continuous delivery and continuous deployment. And then overall, the process which operates from the client agile development till continuous deployment, and these are the process like agile development, continuous integration. These are not process, these are practices actually. And continuous integration practice, continuous delivery practice, and things like that. And once you operate all these practices with the right automation, with the right mindset, then you do reach out to the DevOps. Okay, so here you must be wondering, what is CI? What is a continuous integration? So continuous integration is nothing but a automated build, automated integration, automated testing, and then immediate feedback, no matter whether it's a pass or fail. And if you are ready to achieve this one, that means you have practiced the continuous integration. Okay, you have reached to the model that is called continuous integration. Okay, so you can say like you are getting able to get the things, whatever it's failing or passing is getting immediately, so that way you can take a proactive actions now rather than later. So your process will be much faster than getting delayed. Now you must be wondering what is about the continuous delivery. So continuous delivery is a way in which you reach to a point where you have a package which is available. Again, I'm reiterating this line. Continuous delivery is a way in which you reach to a point where you have a package which is ready for the production release. Ready for the production release, but you are not releasing it. Means when I say you are not releasing, means you are not deploying it. You are just having the ready package, ready for the shipment. That means you have reached to the continuous delivery model. So here you have a package which can be applied to any places. The condition is only the package is available for you any given point of the time. So today you have morning build, by afternoon you have a package which is ready for the production. That means you have reached to the continuous delivery model. Okay, next practices what we have here is like continuous deployment. So as part of the continuous deployment, you are basically not having the ready, but also without having any confirmation, you are deploying it to the production server. So that means you do the automation build, automation integration, automation testing, automation release, and automation deploy to the production server, and that is called continuous deployment. Okay, and then overall, which is being managed from the code build, integrate, test, and release and deploy, that process is being called as a DevOps process. So now I hope the things is much clear now. We started with much of the things like why we are going into the DevOps, and I try to help you to understand why we have a requirement, why we have a need to going into the new process, because you are expecting the things to be up and running 24/7 without any downtime, without having any bugs. And that's a real expectation what we have, which is enabling all the companies, all the organizations, all the product owners to implement the DevOps because of your expectation. Why? Because the model had changed. Earlier you were using the desktop, now you are using cloud-based application and things like that. On the top of that, we discussed so many things, which includes like what are the challenges which each organization is facing with. And we have discussed some of the pain area and then wastage. Then also we discussed some of the things which can help us, like we try to define it. DevOps, like what is the DevOps? DevOps is nothing but bringing the new culture, bringing the new automation, sharing, learning, something like that. And then we try to help you, I try to help you with it, like how can you do the changing the cultures. Then we discuss some of the points like bringing more empowerment, more accountability, trusting, sharing, teamwork, and many more things. And then we also discuss some of the things which includes like changing the mindset of the organization as well. And then ultimately we reach to the points where after the changing the mindset and the culture, we'll have to do the automation as well. And then we did talk about some of the popular tools. I have not covered all the tools. Basically I have talked about only the popular tools which we can use in order to automate and integrate all the things, all the flows what we have discussed so far. And then we discussed the cultural changes, we discussed the automation, then we'll have to bring some of the practices as well. And these are the practices which we discussed, like agile practice, continuous integration practice, continuous delivery practice, and continuous deployment practice. And if you are able to complete all these things, so ultimately which will lead you to implement the successful DevOps execution and transition within your project. It might not be done in one day, it might not be done in 1 week, but if you keep practicing it as a team in the right directions, of course one day you will reach to the DevOps, and you can call your team or your project as a DevOps project. Okay, so with this, what I'm going to do, I'm going to wrap it up this DevOps discussion. And before moving to the self webinar, I'm going to address some of your question. Let's say 5 minutes I'm going to spend on the addressing all of your question, and then moving on to the scheduled break, which is for the 10 minutes, and then we're going to start a journey of one of the DevOps tool, one of the very popular DevOps tools that is called Chef. Okay, so what I'm going to do now, let's address some of the questions what you have. So I'm going to ask, take the question from the Surya Tej. What is the difference between the DevOps engineer and build and release engineer activity? So it's like this, Surya. We used to call the build and release engineer the person which we were having expectation with, like the person will be able to manage our build servers, release processes, SCM servers, and help us to integrate between the dev and QA. But right now with the current transitions, the build and release engineers got promotion, got renamed with the additional tools, additional responsibilities, additional setups, and now we call it DevOps engineer. So I would say it's like just a kind of extension with the additional responsibilities. With the some of the tool sets are remain same. Some of the new practices which have got it, some of the new tool set we have got it, some of the new process which you have got it, and something like that. Okay, so I hope it is answered your question. So there's one question from Sandeep Kotrika. Do I need to learn at least one tool from each category to work in DevOps? I would say, Sandeep, yes, because the first important things which you need to understand the big picture of your project. What exactly, how many elements you have, what are the things which is being done, and what are the each and everyone is performing the responsibilities with, what are the environments you have, and then automation will come into the picture. And in those cases, automation, if you know the many tools which you can implement and integrate all these setups together, it will help you. So at least you should be having one tools knowledge from each of the categories. Okay, you might not be expert in all these tools, but at least you should be having the fair area about it, at least with the essentials. And learning the essentials and nowadays is not a big deal. We are here to help you, and other places also you have a great resources where we can learn and practice DevOps. Okay, so I'm going to take one more question from Jaideep Panchal. Should we prove that the point before implementing the DevOps? So Jaideep, I couldn't get this question. So should we prove these points before implementing the DevOps? I think you don't have to prove any points, Jaideep. I believe you are here just because of you have already got some guidance and some instruction from your project or from your company or from organization or probably from the market software industry, like you have to learn the DevOps, and that's the reason you are here, right? So you got already the points and you know the reason why you are learning the DevOps. So Aditya Prati, can we use, there's a question from him, sorry, can we use DevOps for the product-based software like Oracle Hyperion services? Aditya, I'm so sorry, I have no idea about this Oracle Hyperion services, so I'm not able to comment on it. Probably if someone from the participant who has any other idea, probably they can share the inputs over the chat, so that would be great. So with this, what I'm going to do, I am going to take a break for 10 minutes, and before that I would like to check whether we have a coordinator from SkillSpeed, if they would like to address you guys or not, and then we can go for the break. So let me check with him and then just let you know. So guys, what we're going to do now, we're going to take a 10 minutes of break. I would like everyone to grab some coffee so you can connect again after 10 minutes, and then we're going to connect at 11:45 p.m. So now it is 11:35 p.m. for me. So we're going to connect at 11:45 p.m. and then we're going to get started the journey of the DevOps in terms of automation, in terms of, and let's get going. So let's attend the meeting just after 10 minutes, and meanwhile I'm going to grab some coffee and then I'm going to get it connected. Yeah. See you. Hello everyone. So now let's get started. So everyone can hear me and as well as can see my screen. Okay, cool. So let's get started. So now what we're going to talk about, I am going to take one of the tools out of so many. One of the tools which we are going to take today is Chef. And Chef is one of the important DevOps tool. Okay, so I'm going to talk about this small demo, and probably 1 hour is not very sufficient to show you the whole cycle of the DevOps, whole cycle of the Chef. But probably I'm going to give you the glimpse of the capability, what you're going to understand about the Chef, and then probably you're going to correlate the things. So let's get started. So now we're going to talk about that. What is Chef? So we call it Chef is a config management tool, configuration management tool, right? So everyone must be knowing actually. So everyone have heard about this, like a Chef is a configuration management tool. Now, when we say the configuration management tool, configuration management is a very broad word, very broad word. It can be related to the configuration management in terms of server. It can be related to the database. It can be related to the configuration management source code. It can be related to the security configuration management. It can be related to anything. But here, when we talk about the configuration management, then here we are talking about the configuration management is in terms of servers. So let's say we call it server configuration management. In a simple word, you can also say system. Okay, so basically you manage the configuration of the servers, or you manage the configuration of the systems, and that is the reason is being called as a configuration management tool. So Chef can manage a configuration of the servers or system, and that's the reason we call it Chef is a configuration management tool. So now next question is, okay, we understood Chef is a configuration management tool and configuration management tool in respect of servers or systems. So we call it server, the tool which is Chef can manage the configuration of the servers and system. But the thing is, the next question, what are the elements, what are the elements configuration can be managed in the server? Okay, so we'll have to start asking this question, what are the elements, what are the things with their configuration can be managed in the server, so Chef can manage these elements. So now what you can find in the server, you'll have to answer yourself. So what you can find in the server, let's look at any desktop, laptop, any cloud virtual machines, or the virtual machines which is there in the private network. What do you find it? You find some of the very common thing which you find, which is one of the things, like you find a file, you find a directory. In all the services, all the servers, you find the services which is running. You find the packages, sometimes you call it softwares and things like that. Okay, you find the users. Okay, you find group, you find shell, if you find bash, if you find yum, if you find apt, if you find all this thing. So basically you find hardware also. Okay, and I'm going to explain it how can you do that. And software already I did discuss, like a package and things like that. So basically you find everything. And here when I say hardware, in the virtual environment, in the world of the cloud computing, in fact the hardware specification, which is nothing but your CPU, RAM, and STDD, also stored, storage also, configuration is being stored in the some files. So basically we can also manage those stuff. We can increase, we can decrease, we can configure the way we want it. So basically in the server you find all these elements, and Chef can manage these elements, and that is the reason we call it Chef is a configuration management tool. So now hope I am able to explain it to you why we call it Chef is a configuration management tool. Now next thing is what Chef can manage. What are the with these elements, what can be managed? So now in order to define what can be managed, you'll have to understand it, what exactly the file can do. So either you can do a file with like adding a file, removing a file, or editing a file. You cannot do anything else. Okay, you can add a directory, delete a directory, let's say delete the directory, that's a better word, or delete a file. Okay, delete a file or edit a directory. You can start the services, stop the services, restart, enable, disable, all these things you can do that, right? You cannot do anything else apart from it. Package, you can install it, remove it, or reinstall it, or whatever. Either you can add, delete, edit. So same thing which I am shell, you can call the commands using a shell and things like that. Bash, using you can call the commands of the bash. Okay, yum, you can call the commands of the yum, and apts as well. So basically these are the things you can do that, right? You cannot do anything else. So basically when you say Chef is a configuration management tool, Chef can manage all these elements, files, directory, services and all. So basically it can manage whether it can add a file or delete a file or edit a file, whether it can start the services, stop the services, restart the services, where you can install the packages, remove the packages, uninstall the packages, or modify the packages. It can add a user, or it can run some of the commands, shell, bash and all this stuff. So these are the things it can be done by Chef, and that is the why we call it Chef is a configuration management tool. So now I hope this is clear, and now let's come out of it. Now what you're going to discuss about Chef tools can be a Chef, a tool can be used in two places. One is like during the in the software development, and infrastructure management, IT management, let's say IT management. Okay, so how can you use Chef, a tool, to do the configuration management in terms of software development? So what I'm going to do, I'm going to explain one of the scenario under the software development and one of the scenario under the IT management. So you're going to visualize it, how it can be helpful. So let's say you want to deploy a software, let's say SoftX, that is your application. You want to deploy to 200 servers. Okay, and you want to deploy into 100 servers to test it whether the SoftX is working fine or not before the production release. Now, in order to do the release of this particular product, SoftX, you have to deploy into n number of environment. And when I say n number of environment, this you have to deploy in the Windows, you have to deploy the Linux, you have to deploy the Mac, because it has to run on it has to be tested in all the platform. This is not the end of it. You will have to deploy also with MySQL database. You have to deploy with MS SQL database. You have to deploy with Oracle SQL database. PostgreSQL is a complementer. Okay. Now you'll have to use the app server, which in some of the places you have to use the JBoss. You have to use WebSphere, WebLogic, and things like that. This is not the end of it. Probably you have to use JDK5 in one scenario, you have to use JDK 6. In another scenario, or let's say JRE, not JDK, JRE 5, you'll have to use JRE 6 and 7 and 8 and all this stuff. In some of the specification, you have to use Firefox 43. You want to test with Firefox 43. You want to Firefox 44 and etc. So this is just a small set of the specification what QA has made it for you. Now the thing is, you have hundreds of configuration changes like that, and in that they would like to test your software, that is called Softex. So now the thing is, they want to deploy this application by respecting all this different configuration in the hundreds of server, and the time which was given by them is 10 minutes. In a simple word, you have to deploy by respecting all this complexity, Softex in the hundreds of servers, in just 10 minutes. How are you going to do that? So how you're going to do that? If you start doing one by one, implementing all this stuff, then it's going to take a lot of time, right? So what would be your approach? What would be your approach? You can't do manual thing, that's for sure. You can't do that everything in 10 minutes. So probably you'll start thinking in your mind, okay, let's do that automation. The school, even I was thinking the same thing. I'll have to do automation because I cannot do manually. I'm not slave. I'm a human being. I have a brain. I can do automate the task and it will be done automatically. Now I don't know how much time it will take. I need to check it out, but I'll have to get into the automation. And the moment you start thinking in terms of automation, then you start thinking some of the scripting tools, starting with the Perl, starting with the Python, Bash, Ruby, or so on. Start thinking about these scripting tools, scripting languages, programming languages, which will help you to automate the things. But the thing is, whether these programming languages are right choice or not, you'll have to understand it. So let's talk about it, one of the things. Let's say Bash. You know that Bash will work only in Linux, not in Windows. Correct? Now you know that if you use the Perl, directory structure in Windows is different than Linux. So that means you use the Perl, Python or something like that. I know that Perl can be compiled on the Linux as well as Windows, but directory structure, the method, the function what you use in the Windows is little bit different. So now the thing is, you have to write the multiple version of the script. So once you are using these automation or scripting languages, you'll have to start writing the multiple version of the script. Once you start writing the multiple version of the script, then it's harder to write the program, because first of all it's hard to learn, okay, harder to write, harder to maintain, harder to extend, harder to share, and things like that. So when you say harder to learn, that means these tools is like a full-fledged programming languages. You'll have to learn from these tools so you can automate the end-to-end cycle of it. Now again, it's subjective whether it's going to do that in 10 minutes or not. Okay, but that's another part of it, the discussion. Now you have to start creating the multiple version, one for the Windows, one for the Linux. In fact, one for the Linux Ubuntu, one for the Linux CentOS. In Windows also, one for the Windows 10, one for the Windows 16. Okay. Again, you have to spend a lot of time to learn and then write and debug and test and then maintain it across all the changes. And if you want to again add some functionality, again you're going to rewrite the whole things. Okay, and then hard to share as well, because if I have written my automation in Perl or Python or Bash, and if I'm sharing with my colleagues, he also need to understand Perl, Python, Bash, and again which is hard to learn, how to write, how to share the information. So again, this takes time. So ultimately, what is your requirement? And if you recall the discussion what we are having in the DevOps, the time is everything. We have no time for it. So how can we implement, how can we automate all these tasks, all this specification in 10 minutes? And the time is important. Okay, so how can you do that so it is easy to learn, easy to write, easy to maintain, easy to extend, and easy to share? So the solution is, we have started getting some solutions only for the situations like this. We started getting, let's use some of the tools which is popular and which is becoming popular is Chef, Puppet, Ansible, Salt Lake, and many more. Okay, so these are the tools which we use. So basically these tools are easy to learn, easy to write, easy to maintain, easy to extend, and easy to share. How? It's a again question, because we don't know the Chef, and I'm going to teach you part of it, and you're going to find it out. It is easy to learn, easy to write, easy to maintain, all stuff like that. Okay, so now cool. So now we know that why we are using Chef. Now there should not be any confusion. Why? Because the writing, the automation using the scripting language is not just a cup of tea, having a cup of tea in a easiest way. You are going to spend time, and the time you have, you don't have a time for it. Okay, so it's like this. So now you're going to use this Chef and Puppet, and these tools will accommodate not only the changes very well, but also deploy not in the hundreds of, but probably thousands of servers in 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 20 minutes, whatever the time of the each one flow. Okay, so this is the thing. So now today we are going to learn the Chef. Again, I discussed what is Chef, so we're calling this or stuff like that. So now what is happening, I'm feeling tired of talking with the too many things, and I'm started feeling hungry. Okay, so now I need a food for it. So when I need a food for it, I need to go to somewhere. So I'm feeling hungry, and I need to go to my Chef. Okay, and Chef will prepare a food for me, right? Chef will prepare a food, and here my Chef is having the lots of recipes. So you know what you have, Chef, what they have it. Chef has lots of recipes, right? They write a recipes. Chef has lots of recipes, and they have a recipe 1, they have recipe 2 for the item which I am feeling hungry for it, recipe 3, and so on. So they have a recipes, and these recipes, you know what it's being called? You call it cookbooks, right? Basically, Chef writes the recipes, they put it together, and then you call it cookbook. Okay, now this cookbook you apply and give it to the cook. Okay, simple. You give it to the cook, and then cook following the instruction. And each recipe is what you have. Basically each recipe has a ingredients plus ingredients plus process on how these recipes can be cooked. So I'm feeling hungry, I went to Chef. Chef has a cookbooks has nothing but a list of recipes, and recipes nothing but a list of recipes nothing but has a ingredients and process on how to mix and match those ingredients to prepare that recipe. So this recipe is been transferred to the cook. Now cook apply this cookbook, okay, on apply this cookbook on in a place, okay, place that's called, that's a, let's say what are you going to sell, a place which is like a kitchen for timing, let's say use, and then these apply cookbooks in the kitchen, and then food is ready, and then ultimately it can be sent to me so I can eat it, and I can calm myself. So this is the stuff which we have it. So now the same rule almost is getting applied on a tool that is called Chef, which is meant for the configuration management. Here what is happening here, Chef is a tool which has nothing but a cookbooks has nothing but a recipes. Each recipes has nothing but ingredients and process. Okay, and then these cookbooks being applied on the servers, and then your the configuration management, config management is being done. Okay, that's your food. Okay, so that's the same thing we have it in Chef as a configuration management tool. So now we understood that these are terminology. Chef is a tool, cookbooks is a kind of list of scripts which you have like a list of recipes. Recipes nothing but ingredients and process, and you apply this cookbook on the server through some of the other way which I'm going to discuss, and then that is how you manage the configuration. So now what is these ingredients? That's important because you understand cookbooks, you understand the recipes, you understand the server, you understand the configuration management, but you don't understand these ingredients. So now I'm going to define it, these ingredients. So if you remember, I did discuss about this file, directories, services, package, users, groups, shell, bash, yum, and many more. These are nothing but ingredients in Chef. These are nothing but ingredients in Chef, and we call it these ingredients as a resources. Okay, and we call is these things, these activities is nothing but as the action, and the properties of each resources we call it property only. Okay, so now let's see what you can do with the file. So you can add a file, delete a file, or edit a file, but the thing is what the properties file can have it. So property has a file, and let me show you by showing it. These are the properties: type of file, location, size on disk, created, modified, access, attributes like the permission, security. All these are the properties, right? These are the properties. See, these are the name, type, kind of things. So now these are the properties. So basically Chef can manage the configuration of all these resources with their actions on their properties. Okay, so I hope now it is clear what Chef can be used to where it can be used to manage the servers and how. Okay, so this is the way Chef can be managed. Now next question is how to start programming, how to start writing a program, how to start writing a program. So what I am going to do before start writing a program, if you remember, I missed one of the points which is here. I just explain you one of this case scenario, and you'd love to have a case studies where can you use Chef. So one of the scenario which I explained in the software development, but other scenario I have not explained where can you use Chef for the managing the IT infrastructure. So another example which I am going to give it to you, and probably many other reasons you're going to find it out yourself, or probably through the seminars and probably through the training sessions what we do, is IT management. So let's say you are the IT engineers, you are the IT administrator, and you are managing a large number of servers in your organization. Now your task is to deploy some application in all the thousands of servers all of your employee. How can you do that? Probably you want to update your antivirus policies. How can you do that? Probably you want to remove some of the software from each of these machine from the only one place. How can you do that? So basically Chef can be helpful for you in terms of managing the configuration management of the servers through centralized place in the shortest span of time with the minimal resources, with the minimal programming, and IT management also can be done. So one place you are using software development, Chef, other places you can use the infrastructure management as well. So now back to the questions what we have discussed, how to start writing a program. So basically when we say how to start writing a program in Chef, basically you are writing nothing but a recipes. A recipe is nothing but has a resources, actions, and property. That's all. So you put it n number of resources, and create a cookbooks, and you apply these cookbooks on the server, and that is what has been done. So here chef has a two mode. One is a chef developer, and who writes a program, writes a cookbook, and chef administrator manage the infrastructure, manage a chef infrastructure. So because of time scarcity, I may not be able to talk about each and everything in just 1 hour, because it's a large topic to discuss and large topics to be shared. But at least I'm going to show you how can you create a cookbooks and how can you test it. Okay, and we will also discuss about this self-administrator work in the next in upcoming sessions. Okay, so what we are going to do now, I'm going to ask you, let's start writing the software program. So remember, I'm not doing anything else, only remember I'm going to write a program which is nothing but a recipe is nothing but ingredients and process. So let's start writing a program. So now how to start writing a program? So whatever the program you choose write, you store with a file name. You can have any file name .rb, and that is called your recipe. That is being called as a recipe. Okay, so recipe has the same thing, these resources, these actions, and all stuff like that. So now how can you test your recipe whether it's working or not? So it's like this. If you want to write a software program, a software in Java, basically it's a var file or jar file. So basically you start writing a .java file. The moment you compile the .java file, it's become a .class file. You put that class file together in the jar file, and you push the jar file to any software through var, and then you deploy the software. So it's the same thing, almost same thing. You start with a recipe. Recipe has nothing but these resources. You put it multiple recipes together, it's become a cookbooks. You put these cookbooks and apply on any servers, then you do the configuration management. Okay, so whatever you are expected to be done by the in the system, in the recipes, is been done. So that is how it's been done. So basically, how can you test the program? How to test your recipes? So there's so many ways available in the Ceph, but one of the ways which you're going to start is like one of the utility which we have is Ceph apply. So now next question is where to get Ceph apply. So let me put it this one, where to get Ceph apply. So basically you go to get the Ceph apply using installing the Chef DK. Please install Chef DK. Chef DK stands for the Chef Development Key. So now I am going to do the same activities and not on this notepad, but rather than I am going to show you by doing it. So now what I'm going to do, I am going to install Chef DK. I'm going to write a recipes with the resources what we have discussed, and then I am going to test my recipes, and after that I'm going to create my cookbooks and apply to one of the servers. Simple. So now let's get started. So now I am going to get one VM virtual machines on the AWS, because that is very fast, and I will be doing the demo on the very fast pace, because if I start showing you the same demo in my local machines, the internet bandwidth is not that speed, like we can finish it in 20 minutes. It will take more time. Okay, so now here is my server, AWS server, and if those of you have attended the yesterday sessions, you know that how can you use the AWS now. So I'm just going to create a one session here, and let's say get the 4 gigs of RAM, one spot, add storage of 30 gigs. Security, I'm going to select the yesterday's security group which I tried it out, and then key pair I am going to use the existing one, which is webinar itself, and launch the instance. So now I've got this machines up and running. Now let's wait for the IP address. Okay, it's cool. I got this IP address. You can see it here. And then I'm going to access through putty. And then locate my authorization PPK keys, which is here. Open up. Username, I know that it should be EC2-user. I'm just going to try one more time. EC2-user. Okay, I did the typo in the and I'm going to increase the font. Okay, so now we have everything in place. The first thing which I'm going to install is Chef DK. So let's get it. Chef DK. And you know that my operating system is RHEL 7.3, so I have to download the RPM file. So here is the RPM file. I get this URL and I just do everything as a root, so that way I can avoid the permission issues if any for demo. And here install yum install wget. Wget utilities, I need it. Why? Because I want to download in the Linux. I can get it only using wget or by curl, and these utilities has to be downloaded because it's a web machine. It's a fresh new machine, new virtual machine. So now I'm going to get this. So cd mkdir software, cd software wget, enter, and now I'm getting this software. So I got it. I'm going to install it using rpm-ivh, and then here so the installation is in progress. It's got stuck with 66% and now it's moving slowly. So it's almost over now. Now I would like to verify Chef is installed or not, and you can see that chef-v and it says 1.1.16, which is that means it got installed. And now what I'm going to do, I'm going to create one directory. I go to the root folder. I'm going to create one directory. This is called chef repo, and inside the chef repo I'm going to create one file that is called vi first.rb. Why this that? So because remember, as I discussed here, I am going to write a program after the installation of the chef dk. So I am going to write my recipes. Okay, so I am going to write my recipes, and that the recipe name itself is a first.rb. and inside that I am going to try it out resources. These are resources. Remember again, resources is nothing but the collections of recipe is nothing but a collections of resources and their actions along with the properties which you want to modify, which you want to configure, which you want to manage their configuration. So basically I'm going to create a file. So file, if I want to create a file, I use the resources that's called file, and the file name, let's create a my, or let's say Rajesh Kumar .txt, and this is the file which I created. My recipes which is created now, which will create a file that's called rajeshkumar.txt. Now I am going to test my recipes, and then how can you test it? Using the self apply and first.rb, and just enter. Now you can see that ls, the file got created. Now what I want to edit the file with some of the content. So what I'm going to do, I am going to add some actions into it. So actions and properties. So basically I'm going to put some properties into it, and the properties, how can you put it? So I'm going to put the content. This is my first step program. Enter. Okay, and again I'm checking my application, and now you see that everything is updating. Now if I do more rajesh.txt, the content of the file it shows. So now remember, if you want to create one file that's called rajeshkumar.txt in the thousands of machines, this recipes can be used across all the machine. How? That's the question actually, but again you have to learn, and it's not very difficult to learn. Okay, so now what I have done, I have completed my flow, and in that which I wanted to show you how can you write a recipes, how can you install the chef dk, how can you test it. So that's the first phase is completed. Now what I'm going to show you, how can you set up a web server using chef, and that web server, the chef, you can apply that cookbooks to n number of machines, and web server will be set up automatically. How can you do that? So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to improve my script. Okay, that's called first.rb to the installing the web server. So what are the web server application we have? HTTPD, which runs on 80 port. Okay, so now how can you install it? And each platform, no matter whether it's Windows, Linux, Mac, RHEL, CentOS, Ubuntu, whatever it is, how can you install the HTTP web server? The package name, the resources name is package, and the package name in CentOS is HTTPD. So using that you can install the HTTPD. Before that, testing this program, I'm going to check whether HTTPD is installed or not, and you can see on my screen it is not installed. That means I have not installed, and now I'm going to test my program using chef apply to basically set my recipes using chef apply, and here it is. Now if I see which HTTPD, cool, so now it got installed. So basically my recipes has installed the chef HTTPD server. Now I have to start it. So before that I would like to check whether the services is getting started or not, or starting or not. And you can see that services, sorry for typo, service is not running, HTTP service is not running. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to rewrite my program and improve my program so I can start the services as well. So how can I start the services? I know that to install the services, there's a resources called service. Okay, so I'm going to do this services HTTPD do an action here, and then start. Again, this programming, I'm so sorry, I'm not explaining you each and every line, because the moment I'll get lost in the each lines and I lost this the precious time to show you the whole flow, and it's like that. But again, I'm going to help you if you need it more in the upcoming session. So I'm going to explain each and every line and explain each and everything about it. So what I'm doing here, I'm going to use one of the services that's called service, and I'm going to start this I'm going to start the services HTTPD, and the action is start. Okay, so now I'm going to test my recipes. Now I'm going to see that it's running or not. Now you can see that HTTP is running. Okay, so in a simple word, this HTTP is running. Now I should be able to access this HTTP server using the port, using the 80 port on this particular machine. So I have to verify whether the port is open or not in the security group. So let me verify that one as well. So you have a webinar security group which I created yesterday, if you remember yesterday discussion, and 80 port should be open, and I cannot see this 80 port is open. So I have to add the new TCP rule. HTTP 80 port is should be open from everywhere. Save, and now if you access, you got this. So here it is. Now the thing is, this is cool. Now you can see that everything is cool, but you do not like this page. You do not like this page. So what are you going to do? So basically, now I'm not going to improve the same script again, because I have to move on to the next page. And now what you're going to do, I'm going to create a cookbooks for you. So how can you create it? Cookbooks. Basically, cookbooks is nothing but a collections of recipes plus attributes plus files plus templates plus metadata and many more. Okay, probably this is not the time to explain everything, but the simplest way, how can you get the cookbooks created? So the command is chef generate cookbook, and name of the cookbook, let's keep it first itself. Okay, so what I did, I just write the wrong combination. I have to write chef cookbook generate, rather than I just did the typo, cookbook generate, and then first. Okay. This is nice. Let me try opposite one. There's many combinations available. Yeah, this will work. Okay, so now you see that the cookbook is ready. It says your cookbook is ready. CD first to enter it. So I just, you see this cookbook directory is there. If I enter in the first directory, this is my cookbook. So now you can see that a lot of files and folders and all the set. So let me put it the tree view, and which is not installed. So let me install it quickly. Yes. Now let me clear the screen and let me put it the tree view. And this is the view of your cookbooks. It has a test directory, it has a spec directory, it has a recipes directory. These are the files which has bugs files, figno, metadata.rb, readme.e. So whatever the recipes you create, you put it inside the recipes directory, and the file which is getting called default by default, that's a default.rb. So now if we remember, I have created one of my recipes, which is, let's do cd ... and then my recipe name is first.rb. So what I'm going to do, if you want to check it out, the default.rb, let me show you. Default.rb has nothing. So now I am going to replace my file, which is first.rb, which I have written, to this file, and then I am going to see the content. Is asking replacement, yes, of course. And now if you see the content, whatever the content you have written, you got it here. Okay, so that means my cookbooks is ready for the actions now. So now next thing, let me delete this file, rm rm Rajesh Kumar, I don't need. So my cookbook is ready for the action. So that's the thing which I said. Remember, chef prepare a cookbooks, chef tools prepare a cookbooks which has nothing but a recipes. These cookbooks apply on the servers, and then servers, all this configuration, my items get changed and managed and stuff like that, and that's the call configuration management. Now how can you run this cookbook on thousands of machines? That's a question, because we have not sufficient time to show you the servers, rules and knife and everything. But what I am going to do right now, I am going to try these cookbooks in the local environment. Okay, and then also I'm going to try these cookbooks in the one of the other environments as well. So first let's test the cookbooks, because I have not tested it. So there are many commands to test the cookbooks, but one of the other utility which we have is like chef-client. Okay, using this also you can test your cookbook. Okay, so whether it's working or not. So using chef client you can test in the local mode. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to get the commands, and it's a little bit longer. I don't want to do the spelling mistakes, and so let's get it. And commands are as follow. How to test your cookbook in using client mode, using chef client. This is the command: chef client local mode -- run list. Correct this recipe, and your recipe name is first, remember, here, and then done. So this command will test whether the cookbooks is okay or not, because I'm still acting as a developer. Remember, there's a two part of it: self programmer and self administrator. I'm still acting as a developer. I'm writing my cookbooks and I'm testing it as a self developer. Okay, so now let's run this command which I created. So now I just select this here, run this one, and now you see there's an error. Actually there's an error. So now you see that you should read that error, and reading the error itself is half of the task is done in the DevOps. Okay, so it says missing the cookbooks. So probably I'm not going to explain for this much, but here chef has some restrictions. So if you want to compile any cookbooks using the chef client, you have to put all of your cookbooks inside this directory that is cookbooks, and that's a prerequisite you'll have to follow. So I created one directory, moved my first cookbook to the directory, and then now everything is done, and now I'm going to rerun the same command as it is. And now you can see that it has run, it has successfully executed and convert the resources, all of these three resources. That means my cookbook is working fine. So now what you have done, you have completed the task of the chef developer. Okay, you have completed your cookbooks development. Now what you're going to do, you're going to start doing the sum of the activities of the chef administrator. Okay, administrator. So now remember, I'm going to show you the one image which I would like to show you before going further. Let me get it, this image. This one. So now if you look at this image here, you have a workstation, you have a chef server, you have a chef client. So basically workstation is nothing but the place where you write your cookbooks. Okay, the place where you have a repository. After the workstation, you push the cookbooks. After the testing that cookbooks, you push that cookbooks to the chef server. Okay, and chef server has all the cookbooks and all the notes. Okay, now chef server push that cookbook to each of these nodes, and these nodes has a chef client, and that is how chef server can manage thousands of nodes, okay, at the same time. Okay, so now we have a workstation, we have a chef server, we have a nodes. So we have a three elements which we needed in order to show you the full demo. So in order to have the workstation, my current machine itself is my workstation. Now from the workstation, I need to push my code to chef server. So I need a chef server. So from where we're going to get the chef server? So we're going to get the chef server, that is from the manage.chef.io, and this is the place I've got accounts. So you're going to get the chef server. So you got the workstation, you got the chef server. Now we need to get a node. Let me get it. Okay, this is your chef server. Under the chef server, you're going to create one organization. Okay, and this organization, let's keep it skill speed 6, and create organization. And this skill speed organization has a starter kit. So basically I'm going to configure it, download. It's a one-time activities. So here what I'm doing, I need a knife configuration so I can configure it. And so my workstation can talk to the server. For that I need a keys actually, and that keys which I have downloaded right now, and I am going to push into the server. So now I am doing nothing but pushing into the server. So now I have a IP address which is here. Okay, and then here username ec2-user, password I have in form of keys. This is this one. Okay, login, and now yes, so I have a password which is at, okay, and I'm going to push this one, the keys. So the thing is, which I did now, I just pushed it the server authentication, so I can authenticate with this chef server. Okay, so that is what I do. And now I'm going to copy this chef starter to current directory, and I'm going to unzip chef starter, and unzip is not there, so yum install unzip. Okay, I got it. So let me remove it to avoid the confusion what you have around it. So here you have chef repo, and move this only one directory which you needed, and that's called .chef. Apart from that, everything is okay. I'm having everything cookbooks. Okay, I just moved to wrong location probably. Let me check. It should be in my current directory, but I moved it to cookbooks.chef. I'm just going to repeat this. Okay, here it is, chef backpack, done. Okay, so I'm going to clear everything because I'm going to explain it to you. Probably you might get lost now, but no need to worry because I'm just setting up my infrastructure first time, so I need it a little bit quick time so I can explain you. So now what I'm going to do, now I'm going to explain you. So what I have done, I have set it up my workstation, and workstation need to talk to the Ceph server. So how it can talk to the Ceph server? So there's your utility using workstation can talk to the Ceph server, and that utility name is called a knife. Okay, knife has one configuration file that is called knife.rb. Okay, knife command, knife utility required the knife.rb, and knife.rb has the Ceph server information, like what is the address of Ceph server, what is the username, what is the keys, what are the permission files, and all that stuff. And this knife.rb file is located inside the .chef directory, and this is the directory which I wanted to copy till now. So if you go inside, if you do ls-chef, you see this knife.rb. This is important, and this is the permission file. So now you got it, everything almost what you needed. The only thing which is remaining as of now is I am going to connect with the Ceph server. So now let me verify. So knife is the utility which got installed along with the Chef DK, Chef Development Kit, which you installed to start with this session. So knife node list, I just type it, and if I get no output, that means I am able to connect with my Ceph server, that is manage.chef.io, successfully without any issues. Okay, without any issues. So now what I am going to do, I am going to upload my cookbook. So now if you look at it, the cookbooks, whether it's uploaded or not, and here if you see, there is no cookbooks. Starter 6. There's no cookbooks for the skill speed 6 organization. So I am going to upload it. So I am going to use the command that's called knife cookbook upload first, and then my cookbook name is first. That's the reason I uploaded my cookbook, and now it sees like uploading uploaded and all stuff like that. So I just refresh it. I uploaded my cookbook at the first. So that's the first activity which I completed. So first activity is like uploading a cookbook, which I did, uploading a cookbook. Next activities which I am going to do, bootstrapping a node. A node is nothing but the nodes which we are going to manage through the chef. So for that I am going to need one more machine. So now let me get it one more machines. So I go to the instance quickly and launch instance, Red Hat Linux, one machine, 30 gigs of RAM. Select the one, launch review, acknowledge. Cool. So now I just fire it up and my instance is ready. So now one of the instance which I'm going to manage through this Ceph is this machine. So now I got this IP address, which you can see it here. Now I am going to bootstrap this machine. So how I am going to bootstrap this machine is this way. So we call it adding a node to Chef server, and that process is being called as a bootstrapping. Okay, how can you bootstrapping? So you have a knife command now, and knife bootstrap, and then you have to add many more username, password, and also what I'm going to do, I'm going to copy the whole command line to do the faster activities, and the commands are nothing but here, which you can see it on this command. Cool. So now you can see that knife bootstrap, and this is my host IP address which I want to manage. So my host IP address is this one, and I just keep it here, and inside it, and here's the deal, I have no password for it, so I cannot insert this password. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to find the bootstrap using the identity file, so that's also possible. So I'm going to use the, rather than username, I'm going to use the password. So let me copy rather than the whole commands together. So I have identity file, PM file, which was given by the AWS, if you remember, and put the address. Username is ec2-user, and identity file should be in the same location. So I have to copy this identity file, which is here, and my identity file is this one, webinar.pm file. So let me open up. This is my identity file, and I'm going to copy here. So vi, and let's say pom.pem file. I'll just store it with this one only. That's cool. So I store everything I got ready, and these are the one-time activities actually. Okay. So after this, I got this pom file, and node name, I'm going to put it node name itself, and now I am going to run the recipes as part of the run list, which is nothing but my recipe cookbook's name is first, remember. So now this code which I have created so far, bootstrap the new nodes with this username, with this password, with the name of this node, and run the recipes, which is run the cookbooks, which is first. Everything will be done together. So now before running this command, let me verify. Are you having the web server right now on this machine? No, it says cannot reach it. So now I'm going to run this command on my command prompt and see the magic. And these are the things right now I'm showing you the manually, but these are the things that can be done also by the chef server. Okay, so you have to do a little bit of the setup. It's a one-time activity, and after that just you enjoy being a chef administrator. So one is writing a chef cookbooks, another is just managing the complex infrastructure, and this is the sometime you're doing the both as activities. And now you can see this updating installations and all is going on. Many things has to happen, and then converging is happening in this machine. And now in few minutes is to give you the confirmation. Come on, let's come faster. Still I'm waiting for the final confirmation. It says converging 3 resources. One is converged, second one is done, third one is being processed. So probably it's it's completed. So install the HTTPD, started the things. So now I just refresh this page and I deploy the web server. So now you just replace the sum of the page with this index.html, and it's like a deployment. So this is the way you use the chef to manage the large number of infrastructure. This is one of the subset we have. I'm not talking about the chef roles, chef solo, chef attributes, chef files, templates, and a lot of other resources which we have it, and many more things in detail. But it's just because of time constraint. I'm so sorry about it. I'm just willing to share this information, but just because of the time, we have to respect each, and then we'll have to follow this thing. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to spend 5 minutes of your time, my time, and answering all of your questions, whatever you have it, and then move on to the questions and answer things. Okay. So now, okay, so now I'm going to answer questions. Let me check if I have any question for me, and probably I have no question. So I hope that is clear for you and things like that. So I'm going to try. Okay, we have questions, I think. So can we use Chef for the Windows server? Yes, of course, you can use Chef for the Windows, Linux, Mac, any platform you can use it. Okay, you can use it. Okay, so there's one question: how to automate creating a nodes? Do you have to install client on the target servers? Yes. So these are the things it can be automated using roles, which I did not talk about it. Using roles, you can automate it. Using environments, you can automate it. And there are many other ways also which you can use for automate it. Okay, so it's like this. Can I get the recording for yesterday? So probably Manish, please help Deepina with the recordings of what yesterday we had the session with. Can you please share the presentation deck? Yeah, so you get this presentation from the skill speed coordinator. You'll get it. Yeah. So is it possible to show demo on Windows? Of course, SkillSpeed would love to help you and educate about all these steps. So probably you can suggest some of the webinar for the future, or probably you can subscribe some of the learning materials on the SkillSpeed, which will help you to enhance your capabilities. Okay, so now what I'm going to do, I'm going to transfer this call to Manish, and he's going to help you much more in that.
Hello, thank you for transferring the call. My name is Shantanu, and I would like to speak to all of you for a few minutes. But before I get started, a quick check. Can you hear me and can you see my screen right now? If you can, very quickly a yes into your chat boxes, please. Great. So my name is Shantanu. I'm part of the leadership team here at SkillSpeed, and I've come to talk to you right now for two reasons. Reason number one is I would like to profusely thank you from my whole team for taking the time out yesterday and today to attend this knowledge session on DevOps and AWS. We really hope we could provide value to you. And second is you would like to share something very, very special with you. I think you would have got two messages in the last 2 hours, as well as a mention in the email yesterday of a mystery surprise we got prepared for you. I would like to get to that as soon as possible. But before I do that, I have one really quick yet critical question to ask you. Could you guys share some feedback of your session experience, please? Any kind of feedback you want to share? Good, bad, ugly, excellent. The feedback yesterday was very favorable, so just wanted to see how the session was today, if we can do anything to improve. Really quickly into your chat boxes or one feedback line, then we can directly move to what I've got waiting for you. Thank you, G1, for rating them as excellent. Thank you, Vamsi and Vijay, for saying they were good sessions. I'll wait for other people to chime in with their feedback as well. Okay, thank you, Vijinder. Thank you, Naga, Bhadravaja, Shafal, Suresh. Okay, great. So thanks. So going by the response I got right now, I got okay, thank you, Mr. Reddy, Mr. Avinash. Everybody is saying the session was absolutely amazing. So I'm very, very happy to hear that. Okay, so now what I've got to talk to you about next, this is especially for people, okay, who would like to transform themselves from their current status to a sought after DevOps and AWS professional. I'll repeat, what I'm going to talk right now is especially for those individuals who would like to transform themselves from their current status to a sought after DevOps and AWS professional, okay? And for the next 5 minutes, I'm going to talk to you about this, okay? And so as I said, those of you who are serious and even slightly interested to explore this opportunity, stay tuned in the session and listen to what I'm saying very, very carefully, because in the end, it's going to be mind-blowing almost for you guys, okay? So first thing I would like to do is I would like to introduce you to our advanced DevOps program, okay? Now, let me just go to that. So this is our advanced DevOps certification, okay? It has certain highlights, it has certain procedures, but I'll just skip that right now and go straight to the curriculum, okay? So in this session, there were 3 hours on DevOps, so in here there are 21 hours on DevOps. So let me just talk to you about that in some detail. So we've broken down into our course into chapters, and each chapter is a live instructor-led session of 3 hours, okay? So chapter 1 will be focusing on introduction to DevOps and infrastructure servers. So here is basically where we set your complete DevOps foundation, your configurations, the complete migration, adoption and transition process also is discussed here in a lot of detail. After you finish this chapter 1, we move you on to installations and deployments via Jenkins. So here will be a chapter dedicated to Jenkins, wherein the complete setup, the complete integrations, collaborations, as well as the command execution framework will be explained to you as well as shown to you. Okay. After doing this, we move on to chapter 3, which is towards performance tuning and security infrastructure. So here we cover the components required to create a performance-oriented and secure system, as well as focus on Docker and its implementations, as you can see over here. You can also read along as I'm talking to get the complete list, as I can't see all of it. Then we move on to chapter 4, which is on automation via Ansible and Salt Stack. So in this chapter, again, we are covering the communication frameworks, playbooks, and design patterns for Ansible, and then shell scripts and Salt Stack. Okay. Then we move on to chapter 5, which is advanced chef. Now what you saw of chef today was a very, very basic introduction. In the next level of chef, which some of you will learn, we'll be focusing very detailed way on knives, scripting tools, and the chef development kit with recipes, cookbooks, and the overall architecture, which will be chapter 5, advanced chef. Then we've got chapter 6, which is advanced puppet, wherein again the complete Puppet ecosystem is covered, its configuration, integrations, layers, and the complete production level implementation of Puppet is covered. And the 7th chapter is a chapter which is focusing on pure project and practical implementations. So what basically this shows you is how can I use DevOps in the industry? How can I conduct production level implementations of DevOps? And here is also where we'll give you a complete project stack. In this course, you will be working, in addition to your practical exercises, you will be working on 7 industry projects on DevOps. Okay. So in this chapter, even those projects will also be discussed along with basic guidelines on project management via DevOps and production level implementations via DevOps. So these will be the 7 live instructor-led chapters which you will be taught. And in addition to this, there are certain critical highlights of this course. Okay, and I'm going to explain to you everything in detail and transparently. So as I said, industry projects. You get 7 industry projects which combine DevOps tools with an industry use case from industries like retail, finance, healthcare, and so on. So you actually get a real understanding of how DevOps is implemented, and do it yourself. You will have live instructors like the one you had today, which are domain experts giving you direct training and mentorship, along with 24/7 technical support. Now this support is available to you during the course and even after the course for lifetime, when you can contact our engineers via phone, live chat, email, and video calls. Then we've got 3 other highlights, which is a lifetime LMS, when all your class materials and class recordings will be given to you. Absolutely free monthly refresher classes indefinitely on any new development in the subject matter or on any project which you've developed. And last but not the least, at the end of this course, when you complete at least 4 projects, then you get a certification from SkillSpeed. And this is not just a piece of paper. Our certificate is recognized by leading corporates in the US. You can see 5 logos here of Cognizant, HP, Wipro, Dell, and Mphasis. We've also got partners like Genpact, Hexaware, Mindtree, Unisys, Cisco, and so on. Now these are companies who have direct corporate tie-ups with many more. I just took the most famous names. And these companies endorse and recognize our certificate. Okay? And this is something which no other training company can give you, which is direct corporate validation. And we are able to do that because we have direct training contracts with these corporates via our B2B segment of SkillSpeed. Okay? So the whole promise of this program is that at the end of this course, will be 100% equipped to implement DevOps in any production grade environment. That is the promise of this course. Okay. How it happens is that you have classes for 3.5 weeks, Saturday 3 hours and Sunday 3 hours. During the week, you work on your assignments. Once the course ends, you can work on your projects. Normally, we recommend people start project work from week 2 onwards, but that depends on how fast you want to learn and how flexible your schedule is. And the next available batch is on Saturday, Feb 11th. So you have 21 hours of live training. You get separate 30 hours of practicals on each component which you can work on. So you get beginner, intermediate and advanced practicals. Then you get your project, along with industry projects, support, placement assistance, and recognized certification. This is our advanced DevOps course. And as I said, this will transform you into an individual who can implement DevOps in any production grade environment. Now, our AWS Architect course has a very, very similar format with the exact same highlights and project coverage. Okay, so the same duration also. So I won't spend time again here on the highlights. I'll go straight to the curriculum, after which I'll announce the mystery surprise directly without any further delays. Okay, so here again, Chapter 1 is Introduction to Cloud in AWS, wherein the architecture, the console, cloud migration are discussed, following just an overview of each and every service in the AWS ecosystem. After that, we go into a specialization of various services. So Chapter 2 is on EC2 and EBS, wherein instant types, operations, EC2 services, EBS storage, performance operations, snapshots, and AMI are covered. Chapter 3, we move to S3, RRS, and CloudWatch. Now here, S3 storage ops, buckets, objects, applications, RRS configurations, CloudWatch, and metrics, namespaces, etc. are covered. Then we have Chapter 4 on load scaling, VPC and Route 53, wherein the complete scaling and load distribution ecosystem on AWS is covered with virtual private clouds and Route 53 operations. Then we have Chapter 5, wherein identity and access management controls are covered. And we move on to resource lifecycle management in AWS. So we introduce DevOps practices in AWS, we introduce CloudFront, Dynamo, import export ops. Then we have another chapter on advanced resource lifecycle management, wherein we cover specific topics like Beanstalk, CloudFormation, ops work, etc. And we also have 2 dedicated chapters on cloud migration via AWS. Now that you've learned the complete AWS system, how can you migrate your current system to AWS? So that's covered in not 1 but 2 chapters. And then, as we had earlier, we have a project discussion wherein we explore various applications, various projects, wherein AWS could be applied in retail or healthcare or finance, big data, social media, and so on. And again, expose our complete project stack. Because here, in addition to the 30 hours, 54 hours of practicals, AWS has a lot more. We'll also be giving you, again, 7 industry projects which would involve you creating apps and instances on AWS for use cases across domains, again, very industry oriented like retail, finance, healthcare again. So this is also a very, very practical and project intensive experience. And the last point is the certification. Okay, so this certificate again is recognized by 50+ corporate partners, number 1. And number 2, in case any of you want to opt for the proper AWS certified solutions architect exam, which is conducted by AWS themselves, we've optimized this course completely, our live instructors, our curriculum, and our support, so that you can successfully clear this exam. It is absolutely optimized for the certification by AWS. And as promised earlier, even in this course, the promise here is that you will transform into an individual who can implement AWS cloud solutions in sync with DevOps. Now, even this starts on Saturday, Feb 11th. Okay. Now, 2 quick points. If anyone at Skills Speed enrolls for both the courses, DevOps and AWS, they will start one course, they will finish that course, and then according to their schedule, start the next course. Number 2, you have 6 months on enrollment to finish the course. We give you absolute flexibility. Number 3, in case you miss a class, you can catch up with your LMS, which has your class recordings. Or if you miss multiple classes, you can start again with a new batch for no extra cost. Okay, so now I'm going to move on directly to the mystery surprise under the assumption that I've explained everything about these two courses to you. Okay, but if I'll still ask, does anybody have any questions about these courses, or can I move on directly to the mystery surprise? If you have no questions, just type a simple no into your chat box and I'll move on immediately. Okay, I've got a lot of no's. I'm going to move on immediately. Okay, so now you can see our DevOps certification here is for $400. Our AWS certification here is for $400. Today we're going to do 4 things for you. Okay? Today we're going to do 4 things for you. Number 1, the DevOps certification, which is for $400, is being slashed to $300 right now. Number 2, the AWS certification, which is for $400, is being slashed to $300 also. Number 3, if any of you would like to go for DevOps and AWS, it should ideally be $600, 300 plus 300. Well, only for you guys, DevOps plus AWS is for $477 only. And the best part here is that you don't have to enroll for this right now. You are under no pressure at all. You have time till Wednesday midnight Pacific time to complete your enrollments. So, and then the 4th thing is still pending, so all of you wait for it. DevOps, $100 off, 400, 300. Same for AWS. And people who want DevOps plus AWS, it's only $477 of both courses together, which you can start on your schedule with complete flexibility. Okay, now I have to ask you, you have time till Wednesday midnight, okay? But I want to ask you a question before discussing point number 4, which is how many of you would be interested, only interested, I'm not asking you to commit, how many of you would be interested to opt for our DevOps plus AWS certification? Only interested. You can type a simple yes into your chat box. If you'd be interested to go for our advanced DevOps plus AWS course. So Sunil, Setu, Jeevan, Santosh, Ranjit, Vijay, Swati, Anthony, Ivan, Vamsi. Okay, so guys, we're going to now I'm going to move to anyone else wants to say yes, please say yes right now. I would really appreciate that. If you would just be interested, because then I'm going to go to point number 4 immediately after that. So now what we're going to do is very simple. Some of you here would want time till Wednesday midnight to complete your enrollment, whereas some of you are willing to complete your enrollment right now. So what we're going to do right now is add a slight twist to the proceedings, okay? Which is for people who want time till Wednesday midnight, the price is $477 and they have time to finish their enrollment. For people who are convinced of the value of this course and who want to immediately start their transformation to a DevOps and AWS expert, for those people who complete their enrollment right now in the session, I repeat, for those people who complete their enrollment right now in the session, DevOps only for those people who do it right now in the session. I've said it thrice to make sure all of you understand. The price will be $399 only for DevOps plus AWS. So if you want time till Wednesday, you can take time till Wednesday midnight. It's $477 for this combination package. However, if you complete your enrollment right now and want to start your transformation immediately, it will be only $399, not $477. Have you guys understood this? If yes, does anybody want to complete their enrollment right now and start the transformation process to become a DevOps and AWS expert? And if you enroll right now, you don't start the classes immediately. You can opt for the next available batch on Feb 11th, or you can opt for a batch after that, depending on your availability. You have 6 months. So if you enroll right now, this is only $399. If you take time till Wednesday midnight, it's $477. If anybody would like to enroll right now and save that additional money also, please let me know via chat and I can share the link with you. So everybody who wants to enroll right now at $399 only for the DevOps plus AWS certification, $399 USD. Please type 123 into your chat boxes really quickly. Those who want to enroll at $399 for the DevOps plus AWS certification course. In case I'll even share the course pages link with you, so you could open them up yourself and you could go through them in case you want to do that once by yourself. Okay, but those who would like to go ahead right now and save this additional money. Yes, Sriram, so you have 6 months available. You can finish one course, take a break, and then do the other course. Breaks are allowed, okay? So as I said, it's $399 if you go ahead right now. It's $477 if you wait till Wednesday midnight. If you want to go ahead at $399 right now, please type 123 into your chat box. Okay, I'll be sending you a payment link. You can complete your enrollment via debit card, credit card, PayPal, whatever you want to do. So please type 123 into your chat box if you want to go ahead for this exact combination at $399, not $477. I'll wait for the next 5 minutes, let all the 123s come, and then I will give it up for you guys to enroll. Yes, Surya Tej, I explained very clearly that we will provide certification. It's recognized by 50 plus corporates across America, and especially for the AWS course, we've aligned our certification for your AWS exam also. Okay, so last call, those who want to wait till Wednesday midnight, you're most welcome, but it will be $477. Those who want to go ahead right now, it's $399 only. All you have to do is type 123 into your chat box. I'll wait for 60 seconds more to get your 123s in. After that, I'll be closing the 123 option. Okay? And I repeat, you will have to complete your enrollment right now while you're in the session, not after the session when you feel like. Okay, I'm being very, very honest and strict about it. Okay, so G1, the link to enroll has been shared with you at $399. Anji, it has been shared with you. Vishnu, it has been shared with you. Mohana, it has been shared with you. Bhagya, it has been shared with you. Hari, it has been shared with you. Anil, it has been shared with you. Okay? Yeah, so Pavan, yes, he will be continuing, Pavan. Okay, so guys, those of you who would like to wait till Wednesday, you're most welcome. No issues at all. Those who want, but you'll have to pay $477. Those go right now, $399. And yes, Jeevan, you can take this session anytime in the next 6 months. You can take both courses anytime in the next 6 months based on your flexibility. So now guys, what will happen is very simple. I'm going to go on mute right now. I'm going to come back live if there are any questions. All those who have said 1, 2, 3, the link has been shared with you. You only click on that link, open it up, and you're good to go. If anybody else wants to quickly wrap up their enrollment at $399, please type 1, 2, 3, and I'll share it with you. Surya Tej, I've shared it with you. Jaydeep, I've also shared it with you. Okay? Any more 1, 2, 3s, I will automatically share the link with you. Just for reference, you click on that link, you can open it up like this. As you can see, I'm opening it up right now just to show you a quick demo. You can easily log into PayPal or pay with debit or credit card. It's $399, as you can see on your screen. So Vishnu, I can share the course details with you. I've sent you the links to our AWS and DevOps advanced courses on your chat privately. Okay. Once you guys finish your enrollment, can you please notify me? Because as I said, this is only available till this webinar is on. After that, payments will not be entertained. Okay. Jaideep, I'm so sorry, there is no such facility. Okay, Mr. Tirupati Rao, I'll just share the link with you. Give me a minute. Once you finish your enrollment, please notify me via chat. All of you, I would really appreciate that. Yes, Anji, Docker is covered. Setu Sinha, tomorrow if you want to enroll, it will be at 477 and there's no chance at all it will be at 399. We're very strict about our discounts, okay? Okay, Jeevan, just hold on. Suhas, could you please complete it in USD and not CAD? I'd really appreciate that. We don't take CAD right now. Jeevan, really quickly just type your email ID into the chat box, please. I'll try and see what I can do for you. Yes, Anji, that is correct. If anybody has finished their enrollment, I request you, please notify me. If anybody wants the link, let me know. In case you're not interested right now, you can proceed to leave and opt for this at 477 in case you would like to. Okay? To all those who would have shared the link, you can please go ahead and complete your enrollment. Yes, Mohana, I'll just check your question. Mohana, you got to simply go on the link and you can complete your enrollment. Santosh, I've shared a link directly to your email. You could use that right now and you could wrap up your enrollment. Vishnu, I've shared the link in your chat box to enroll. You can use that link and complete your enrollment. Okay? Jeevan? Cool, Jeevan. I'll just see what I can do for you right now. Okay, Vishnu, just quickly type your email ID into the chat box. I'll send you a direct invoice in case you're on a mobile. And Jeevan, I'm sharing a special link with you I made for you only, Jeevan, as you were having some troubles. Please try through that. I would really appreciate it. Vishnu, I'll make a special link for you also. This will go straight to your email and through that you can immediately complete your enrollment. I see a lot of you completing your enrollments. Anthony, just give me 1 second. I'll share the link with you. Yes, Shefal, it is. You will learn how to operate the tools, implement the tools, and manage the tools. Those three will be taught to you. Vishnu, 1 second. I'm just sending you the invoice link right now to 399, not 477. Yeah, so Vishnu, you would have just got a mail from PayPal directly. You can use that link to complete your enrollment. You can just check your email, it should be there. Okay. Anthony, let me get to you right now. And the link is shared directly with you in your chat box, Anthony. You could open it up. Okay. So guys, again, I'm repeating, I'm being very strict about it. This link is not active after the webinar. It's only for right now. Okay. Anji, we accept debit card, credit card, and PayPal for our dollar payments. Okay guys, I don't have forever, so I will have to slightly push you to complete your enrollments sooner. Okay, everybody else, it's 1:23 a.m. in my current time zone. I'll be sticking around here till 1:30. After that, I will close the session. Okay? Anybody has any questions or doubts, you could let me know. Yes, Anji, that is correct. Okay? This is correct. Santosh, it's done. Anthony and Sunil, I gather that you both are from India. So what we'll do is, I'll give you guys a call tomorrow and we could talk about this. Okay? Because this link is especially for our USA students. Yes, Mohana, it's done. I just saw that myself. Everybody else, you have 6 minutes more. The class is done. If you want, you can go ahead and leave. You'll be getting email reminders for 477. It's $3.99 now. If you want the link, I can share it with you. If you're done, you're done. Okay? Cool. So I'm peacing out right now. I'm on mute. Once you guys finish your enrollment, please let me know. It's $3.99 for our DevOps plus Advanced AWS course. And again, thank you so much for your time. I'm on mute right now unless I get any other questions or any other requests. Okay? Yeah, if anybody's finished their enrollment, you could let me know via chat. In exactly 4 minutes, the session will be closing. Okay? Vishnu, the URLs of this course will be live, but the 399 link will not be live. Okay? Those who have paid, if you could notify me, I'd really appreciate it. Those who finished their enrollment, if you could notify me, I'd really appreciate it. Okay? Okay, Bhagya, I'll just get that checked out. Vijay, cost for Indian students would be 399 into 67 or 68, whatever is the conversion rate. But right now, we're not taking any payments from our Indian students. So I'll give you a call tomorrow, Vijay, and talk to you about this. Okay? Sure, Jaideep. Anji, 1 second. Anji ready. Okay, yes, Anji and Bhagya, your enrollments are confirmed. Yes, they're done. Yes, Jaideep. Cheers. Okay, guys, the session is about to close right now. Is anybody else completing their enrollments? Please let me know. I would really appreciate it. Otherwise, the session will close and $399 price will close along with that. Cool, I'm going back on mute right now. I'll wait for the next 2 minutes. If anybody's finished their enrollment at $399, you're most welcome to the SkillSpeed family. Otherwise, at $477, we're there for you till Wednesday midnight. Okay? So guys, the session is about to close right now. Does anybody have any final words? Please let me know. Anybody's finished their enrollment? Please let me know. All of you can start to leave the session if you have no further questions. Okay? I repeat, all of you can start to leave the session if you have no further questions. If you're done with your enrollment, give me a quick chat shout out so I can confirm it right now to you. Jivan, could you quickly tell me what issues you're having? The session should be closing right now. To those who have enrolled, welcome to SkillSpeed. You'll shortly hear from our team. And to those with whom I've shared the 399 links but the enrollment is not done, the links will be cancelled immediately after I close the session. Okay? Jivan, do you have a different card or do you only have that one specific card? Because others have been able to enroll. Everybody else, a quick check. We're done with the session. In case you're enrolling, you can, the window's almost closed. And thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it again. Okay. Okay, G1, you only have one card right now, which is not working. No issues at all. I'll see what I can do for you. I'm not sure. We've never faced a situation before. So I'll see what I can do for you. But for now, it's okay. You can not enroll. It's perfectly fine because your cards aren't working. Cool. So guys, the session is closing. Thank you everybody for your time. We really appreciate it. We're very, very happy that we could provide value to you yesterday and today. And this is open till Wednesday. We'll be sharing the email link with you shortly. And after we do that, you can go ahead and enroll. Anji, yes, as I said earlier, your enrollment is complete and the support team will shortly reach out to you. Jeevan, I'll be sending you an email. You could reply to that. It'll be as simple as that for you to do. Okay? Okay. Cool. Great. So everybody, on that note, it's a wrap from Skills Speed side. Thank you so much for your time. And yes, that will be done. And all of you who got the $399 links, I'll be, as I've got no response from you, I'll be the people for whom I've gotten a response. For you, I'll be deactivating it. I don't want to keep them up because the time's up. And it's 477. You're most welcome to come by, and we'll give you an even better experience in that. Now the session is closing. Goodbye from Skills Speed.